Welcome back. Episode 116 of Revisited and the first episode of Viewer Request Month proper. We did stream already. I know people are going to be disappointed this isn't a stream, but you have to understand that
not everything can be a stream.
And some things lend themselves better to us just analyzing it as opposed to you pieces of just playing clips over it. And this would be one of those things. We are talking about Spider-Man 2 is disgusting woke propaganda by synthetic man.
I didn't know he put it in the title.
I think we did one synthetic man video and it was Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm. Back before we knew anything about him.
Yeah. And I just remember the Amanda Waller, of course a black woman would have to knock her out. It was some crazy stuff on that one.
You just gotta make something into something.
So we'll see with this one.
I just don't.
You just don't what, sir?
The woke conversation just boils down to, look, there is insert thing or person or whatever in here therefore it's the purest if then. It's just this equals this, and there's what do you say about that?
What discussion can be had to there's a black person here, so it's woke? Well, I don't know what you want my rebuttal to be there.
How much stuff classifies something as woke? Because we got the big in Avengers Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
We got the big the women with the wombs. They'll take care of it. It's like, okay, is that enough? And the Marvel stuff, is that enough to classify?
If there's a lot of people that talk about pandering, that was uber pandering.
Absolutely. That's exactly what that was.
The one in Infinity War, that wasn't really pandering. You could say it's just a moment for the women facing this other woman. That was clear. Hey, look at all the women of Marvel, even though Captain Marvel's here, who could just bowl through 95% of the forces right now. But I don't know. I don't know where the line starts, because they're already talking about, GTA 6 is gonna be Schrodinger's woke, because it's gonna be like, hey, there's a Latina woman as the main character, but she at times is half naked and shows off her body, so what do we do here?
Phil is talking about it, and we're not going to talk about Phil.
What could he possibly say about it?
It's fine. We there's simply no time.
Cool.
I don't like the anti-venom suit.
I'm cool with the anti-venom suit.
I don't like it.
I wouldn't put it like top 10 in the game, but it's fine.
There's not enough to break it up.
I mean, it's just reverse venom.
Yeah, I know, and that's just black works a lot better.
You like black better?
No, it just works better. Marvel Spider-Man 2 is the next Sony cinematic slop release. Another overhyped, overrated movie game full of leftist virtue signaling and propaganda. One of my favorite childhood developers, Insomniac, is now dead.
What is a appropriately hyped game? Because I hear a lot of overhyped when it comes to a thing. Was it your potential hype? Was it the marketing you saw? Like, what classifies to the point where it's just like, it was overhyped?
I just don't. It's just broke, and I don't. It's
not woke. Enough of an interesting conversation starter.
Just woke. Oh, the comments. No. I don't know how much he polices his comments, but the first couple are...
I would assume 0. There was somebody in the...
Okay. It must just be, you're here for this, and you've got this.
Mm-hmm. So let us get this by getting into it.
Maybe MJ was right.
Oh, what's with the sound? Could you not hear it? Could you hear it?
Yeah.
I couldn't hear it.
Why would the city need me
Okay.
when it has you?
How does it feel to have lived long enough to see all of your favorite franchises go down in flames?
Feels great.
Another year, another Sony cinematic slop game that everyone's gonna pretend is a masterpiece. At the time of recording this has a 91 on Metacritic. Now, if you still trust Metacritic scores, you're probably an idiot, but still, the point stands that this game is obviously getting the Sony hand job.
So
I don't understand how he can both say it's not worth talking about Metacritic and then use it as a jumping
exactly
off
what I
point.
was about to like. If it's not worth it, don't even bring it up.
Legitimately, just do not care about
Who
it.
gives if it's worthless? Metrics.
The Sony hand job from all the critics for pushing for social change, even if you do agree with the politics.
Pushing for social change? In what way? By including a trans flag? That's
Or
pushing
a
for
Black Death girl that you play with for a side mission for like 6 minutes. We'll have to hear the point. He's got like an hour and a half to tell us.
With the politics. It is far too similar to the last game gameplay-wise. It really makes very few, if any, improvements. It has some of the worst...
No, it makes quite a lot of improvements. Not only do you get the full Venom stuff near the end, but Miles has a bunch of new abilities.
They took away a lot of the gadgets, which I'm sure some people didn't like. But I feel like the gadgets were a little too OP. And I think this system handles it a little better. But I don't quite understand this argument because a sequel to a game is going to essentially do what the previous game did, but better.
He is Spider-Man. This is I think it's 1 year out from the last game.
Mm-hmm.
What is there to change other than just improvement? He's not going to start shooting beams.
Like, I would love to see what a sequel, well, he's Synthetic Man, so I would assume Mass Effect. But Mass Effect, I'd say the combat, even though the combat was better in 2, the RPG mechanics really devolved into, and then in 3, it was even worse. But it was just a dumbing down of the mechanics that were already present. So you could say it's an improvement if you cared about those dumbed down versions of those mechanics. But in the overall run, there wasn't much change between a 2 and a 3. And the only real change between a 1 and a 2 was kind of like the ammo system. But this is just my memory of Mass Effect. I haven't played that game in like a decade.
Few, if any, improvements. It has some of the worst pacing I've ever seen in a video game, despite having significantly fewer cutscenes than God of War Ragnarok. It's actually worse because it interrupts the gameplay every 10 minutes, and even when you are playing it, you're either...
Pause. You get 10 minutes of gameplay and then you get story? Isn't that... I don't see how that's... How much is how much is good pacing? How much gameplay does he want to consider it to be good pacing?
Well, in a lot of RPGs, you'll do a lot of things outside of the story. But even this, I don't necessarily agree with that assessment of it, considering that you can, if you want, do other things that are not the cutscene story stuff. There's many opportunities just to do a bunch of, just swing around. You can literally just swing around for 5 minutes, find this stuff.
I don't ever remember feeling like, oh crap, a cutscene in the middle of a fight or something. Cause it's kind of expected when you go into the hard story stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like right here, you got, I think this was when you were MJ, as a matter of fact.
And you were trying to save Doc Connors.
Yeah, so. Yeah,
and how long are the cutscenes? Because I think this cutscene was like a minute and a half, and then we go somewhere else, and then we maybe get another minute and a half, 2 minutes of cutscenes, and then we get back into it. But I can't.
I would prefer the argument of here is an example of good pacing and this is bad pacing. I don't think that bad pacing equals 10 minutes of 10 minutes of gameplay interrupted by a cutscene in a game that is heavy into story.
Playing it.
But it sounds like that's partly his problem, because Mass Effect, even though there are story elements to it, it's a lot of just gameplay exploration, that type of thing. And again, I'm only going by this because I don't know Synthetic Man. I'm only going by his name because whatever. Whereas he slagged off God of War Ragnarok, even though that's a lot of gameplay, even though that's exploration, it's more linear and it's heavy story stuff. So you might do 4 minutes of a cutscene and then a boss battle, then another 5 minutes of cutscenes before you go to the next area and blah, blah, blah. And it seems like he just wants to kind of be plopped into the story, do the things he wants to do, and then the story happens like 2 hours after.
Now, hopefully he explains this.
And even when you are playing it, you're either solving a brain-dead puzzle or...
I didn't like that puzzle. I like the hexagon puzzle a lot more.
Yes, I wasn't a big fan of this puzzle.
Or playing some other mini game, or you get a walk.
You played that mini game twice?
Like 4 times.
No, it was the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
There was a
maybe
no, when you're swinging around, when you're doing the missions, you
Yeah.
do that. But in story, you do it twice.
Is there an issue with mini games inside of a game? Like it's something if you're saying the mini games aren't engaging. That's your personal preference. But to just say even when you do get gameplay, it's mini games. Like that doesn't really say anything.
Other mini game, or you get a walking simulator mission, or you're playing as a...
It's not a walking simulator mission. It's basically you just exploring with Harry as you ride through the city.
There's how outside of a cutscene, how else could you do that? You can either do a riding the bike thing, or you can just do a cutscene. And if you want a little more engagement, you can do the walking thing. And I see no issue with the bike thing.
Mission, or you're playing as a spider bot. Basically anything except swinging through the city and fighting bad guys.
But you act like this is the majority of the game. This thing, which I loved because I'm a big, dumb, smelly music rhythm person, Mark. But you act like this is a majority of the game. This was like 5 minutes that you did this, and then it goes into a fight. And then you do another maybe minute of this, and then it goes into a fight. This is poisoning the well out the gate by just going, you're not really fighting.
You're not really being Spider-Man.
Yeah.
What does it mean to be Spider-Man? Do you think Miles Morales Spider-Man would not do this? Do you think Peter Parker Spider-Man would not be doing synthesizing plant life type of stuff?
And bosses are like 3 phases, most of them, especially near the end. So it's nuts.
Fighting bad guys. So it makes absolutely no...
But
this is lame.
What?
The just ride the ride.
Oh, no, I didn't like just ride the rides, but
I
did
like the games. I like the games. Those were fun.
And I like just them hanging out at the carnival.
Yeah, just having fun talking. But just ride the rides, tilt, that was lame.
Nice. So it makes absolutely no sense how this game is up there with all the greatest games ever made. Now, reviewing this game is...
Like what? Can you compare the game you like that is one of the greatest ever made?
Look at his face! That tells you everything you need!
Yeah, he was not...
Gay! Harumph!
Yeah, he was not rocking with this particular section.
Not.
He was not engaged.
Not having fun.
Made. Now, reviewing this game is going to be difficult because I am so utterly frustrated and tired with all of the political virtue signaling that is in modern video games. And this is one of the worst cases I've ever seen, by the way. If you...
Oh, what the Dude! Dude, is it just seeing something? It is
Yes.
gay people.
I couldn't imagine being so integrated
mindset.
in this mindset of just seeing a thing is enough for me to throw my controller. Like I could play with anything. I could look at just about anything. It's not.
This is a 20+ hour game, and it's got, let's say, an hour of woke stuff. Is that so much that as soon as he sees it, he's throwing up his hands like, oh, come on, this again?
Do people think there aren't gay people in New York City?
Why can't you just show them and have a dumb, kind of boring mission with them?
There wasn't no kinda about it.
Talk about the guy or girl, 2 girls, and a parent and a child, whatever. That mission wasn't that good. But it's not about the gay stuff.
I've ever seen, by the way.
But that's just Spider-Man helping people out, which is fine. I just would have liked it to be a little better. Because it's
more
just
fun.
Hey, come over here and swip down this thing.
Connect the electricity so the TV works.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I would have liked it if it was like he's walking down a hall and you gotta thwip people away so he can see like a banner or something, or open a. It's like a timeable. You could miss this type of thing, and it could
if you don't have enough points by the end.
Yeah,
he rejects the
that would have been
invitation.
good, and that's another thing I wanted to talk about on the podcast. But it feels like there should have been choices in this game. Like at the end, where you're literally standing at one side is Norman Osborn going, "Please save my son," and the other side is Kirk Connors going, "Nah, you got to do what needs to. You know what it is. You was in that for a couple days. You know what's up. It's done bonded. He's a monster. Get it done."
That sounds like you kind of just wanted another web of set shadow situation.
Just something small like that. Just
but
not
like small.
No, not huge. Just like small dialogue changes. Because like when Peter was about to go into the tunnel by himself, that could have been a choice of just like you go in, you don't go in, and Miles chastises you. Or you have Miles in that fight to help you, so it's a little bit easier while you're getting overwhelmed by symbiotes or something. Just small things, because we don't want it to be like The Walking Dead season 3, where it's like Kenny, James by yourself. One of them's dead, one of them's alive. Hey, we all got to get to this point at the beginning of the next season anyway, so they both died, and we're not going to talk about it other than just a small little flashback moving on.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what happened with Infamous 2, because you have the choice of essentially. This is spoilers for Infamous. You have the choice of essentially kill your friend and take over, or just kind of save everybody. And there's no really accounting for the next. That's why I'm very interested in where they go with Injustice 3, because it's either Bats won or Zeus took this over. What are we doing here?
But yeah, I would have liked just a small things like that. It would have been fun.
I've ever seen, by the way. If you tuned into the streams, you know exactly why already.
Pro now, dude.
This is truly it's pro now.
I just feel bad for him, because
for the type of people
his enjoyment was just gonna be lessened by seeing something. He's gonna be more frustrated just by seeing something,
by seeing bi people of color,
and that's all it is. And you just go off, and you're playing the Catwoman mission, and she goes, "My girlfriend." And he just goes, "Oh," and then he's just thinking about that. Black Cat. What did I say?
Catwoman.
Same thing. Oh, good. Don't at me, Muff. But it's just his experience is lessened just because of that one little line. When it could have just been a guy, and it's just. He would have just enjoyed it a lot more. I just feel bad for him that little things like that can lessen the experience.
Things that feel to you inconsequential.
Streams, you know exactly why already. So it's going to be hard to actually try to give this a fair review because this game really pissed me off. I mean, I don't think I've been this mad at a video game, well, at least in Starfield, which really released not that long ago, but you might have thought that I was reaching on some of my points with God of War Ragnarok's story, and I'll admit I was barely paying attention half the time because that game was so unbelievably
Pause. Why did you feel the need to make a video? Why did you think you were an authority enough to make a video that you weren't really paying attention on? That means
especially if it was a review of any sort.
It's a long thing where you're talking about what you didn't like, and if you weren't paying attention, surely you're gonna get some things wrong, and then people are gonna get on your neck for it.
Nah, once you get a certain fan base, a certain size.
No, people outside of that guy.
Oh, anybody outside of your fan base, no matter what.
People who are here for this are here for this.
Yes. No matter what type of content you do.
But I wouldn't put out a video where I'm just kind of paying attention to this movie. So it was it's dumb stuff. And the fact that he thought that it was to just put that out just speaks volumes about his character.
God of War is not a masterpiece. That's basically what it was. An hour, I guess.
EFAP did it. It's bad. I have not played it. I know nothing about the story. It's bad.
Time because that game was so unbelievably boring. But Insomniac's Spider-Man 2 is not just almost
a missable scene where a trained woman is beating a trained man.
How dare?
How dare? In every circumstance, a man should beat a woman.
Hashtag Batman.
Quote by Batman. The twins are in full force. But just like I said, just seeing this, it is just another check mark for him. Just going, okay, we had the black cat. Okay, we had the boring gay mission. Now we got this. And
it starts with the A and it's just going down to W.
In his mind. And he's not going, I'm having fun. He's going, another woke thing.
Is not just almost as equally boring as God of War, but also twice as woke, undeniably so.
Pause. Okay. So
I'm sorry, that's just
the metrics of woke have been doubled.
The 2 liters, no, 4 liters of woke.
But he goes, this is just as boring as God of War. So what guarantee do we have that you're going to be paying attention when you said that the last game was so boring that you didn't pay attention?
And this is almost as bad.
So why are you now paying attention? What makes this interesting enough to talk about? Or that it's just going to be the woke stuff?
I mean, it's in the title. What do you expect?
But it's disgusting. Oh no.
Disgusting woke.
Because it's woke.
Undeniably so.
This was a bad video y'all picked.
This is woke, undeniably so. It'll be interesting to see the usual suspects try to pretend that this isn't clear political propaganda being shoved down our throat. Now, because this review is going to come out over a week after the game's release, anybody who decided they wanted to purchase the game has already made that choice. So at this point, I'm just giving my thoughts because clearly a lot of you want to hear my thoughts on this game. And man, I'm finding it difficult to really drudge up the anger that is required for a game like this. I'm honestly more depressed than anything. I've said this a few times in the past, but Insomniac used to be one of my favorite video game developers. They've quite literally made my favorite game of all time, Spyro the Dragon. But it wasn't just Spyro. Those of you who've been on this channel for a while know that I really enjoy the Ratchet & Clank games, which was also made by Insomniac. The first 4 games in that series all have their place amongst my favorite games of all time. They're really fun, actually kind of funny games too. The humor is aged surprisingly well, and they're just a good time all around. But fast forward 20 years and Insomniac is nothing like the company that made those games. It's happened to pretty much every video
What's wrong with them?
What?
Insomniac,
I was
man?
waiting.
What happened?
I was really waiting for him to get to the newest Insomniac game, Ratchet and Clank game that came out, just to see if it's no longer fun and why it is no longer fun. But then again, maybe he's done a video on it. I truly don't know.
Pretty much every video game studio that was big in the late 90s and early 2000s, none of them have maintained the same level of quality, which I guess shouldn't be surprising. But Insomniac at least used to understand what made a game fun. This game is not fun. 80%
Disagree. I find it fun.
Disagree.
You personally don't find it fun? That's cool. I find the game fun. There are aspects of it that are not fun.
Yes.
I think there's aspects of every video game that is not fun that I have
Disagree.
played.
Disagree.
What?
Yes.
It's not as fair for stuff like rhythm games, because all you got to do is hit a rhythm.
No, because there's songs that I just find bad that you just have to get through to get the number.
Then what games are we talking about?
Press play.
Okay, cool.
what made a game fun. This game is not fun 80% of the time. So fuck it, let's just talk about the gameplay. Now, unlike most of my other videos, I'm actually not going to talk about gameplay all that much because it's very similar to the last game. Chances are, if you're interested in this, you've already played the game that released back in 2018, and even a few of you played that Miles Morales game, though not nearly as many, judging by sales numbers. So you basically already played this already. So just sticking to
Why didn't you show the sales numbers?
No, it definitely sold less, but it was a expansion essentially.
But he's talking about
3-hour game to the original's 8-hour game. Just using
but he's
numbers.
talking about it like it sold, like Spider-Man 1 sold 100 mil and that sold 2 mil.
I think
sales?
collectively they've sold like 30, 21, something like that.
It sold 6.5 million by 2021.
Which one, Miles?
Yeah.
That's a good number, honestly.
What did the first one make?
Stupid.
Obviously.
Stupid.
But this is only by 2021. We don't know, with what would people bundles, it getting the second game getting announced and people going, oh, I need to figure out what happened in that one.
PC release, sales, that type of thing.
It's hard to find.
Yes, it's always hard to find video game sales because they do not release them.
This already. So just sticking to the gameplay and not talking about the story or anything, I think it's perfectly competent, but as I've said multiple times, especially on the streams, I have never been a huge fan of Arkham-style combat. I do like those games, and I also like Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, but I'm not particularly good at that combat system. I just have kind of...
Do you not like it, or are you not good? Or do you not like it because you aren't good?
I would assume it's that part of it. Some people are not going to like fighting games because they're not good at fighting games. It's hard to enjoy Street Fighter when you can't do a Hadouken.
Just have kind of slow reflexes in general, and unfortunately I played about half of this game while I was tired, so this gameplay isn't particular.
So does he have some kind of effect? Wait, go back.
I was tired, so this gameplay isn't particular.
Wait, what was that?
It's probably for the comic costume. It's probably for the comic costume.
No, that's the black.
I was tired, so this gameplay isn't particularly great. So I'm going to try to not hold that against the game.
Oh, no. I played that suit. Maybe it was a setting that you could toggle, 'cause I didn't
accessibility setting or something.
So now,
which technically is woke.
So now half the game you're tired, and the entirety of the game you're bored. Why
80% of the game he's bored? He said 80%.
Why are you an authority on this? What do you have to say when you're half asleep?
To be fair, he's never marked himself as an authority. He's
Why
just
do you
giving his
feel the
thoughts
need to
because
speak on
people
this? I would not speak on something when I couldn't stay awake long enough to pay attention?
I have no interest in making a video about Jujutsu Kaisen.
Zero. Negative interest.
Maybe on my own. I'll definitely hit up a Shibuya incident type of thing. But just like the positives and negatives of Jujutsu Kaisen, I have zero interest.
Negative.
It is a 5 on 10 series.
Kingdom Hearts, what was the one? Dream Drop Distance. It's fine. I don't like the pets. That's it.
You gotta be way down or way up to care enough.
But I'm not gonna be half sleep for half the game and just go, all right, here's what I thought. Here's all my thoughts. Listen up. That's dummy.
It's cool if it's a rant on a podcast or something. I can see that.
Dumb, but a structured thing where you could go back and fact check yourself at any given time. Why would you even say that? What does it do to say that you were half tired throughout this? Nobody's criticizing your gameplay in this. This isn't what this is about. This is about what the game is. So what's the need to introduce the fact that you were tired?
Isn't particularly great. So I'm going to try to not hold that against the game, though I did have a lot of frustration with some of the boss fights specifically.
He's bad. He was just getting ganked.
Yeah, it really emphasizes the parries.
Wow.
And if you are not ready for the parries, you're gonna get ganked.
With some of the boss fights specifically. So what's different this time around? Well, now we have a block/parry button, which really is probably the greatest source of my complaints with this game, because the muscle memory is so beaten into me from playing all these Arkham-style games to press one button to dodge attacks. But most of the time it wasn't a problem, as long as it was an enemy that you're specifically supposed to parry, like the big heavy guys. That's pretty intuitive. Really, what I had a problem with the parry system was with the bosses, because
where they just go from one thing to another. If you don't have the mindset to just go, hey, this thing is happening, instead of doing this one thing, you do this other thing. It's two things that you can do. It's pattern recognition. Red equals L1. Done. You shouldn't be playing this. If you're just going, well, let me just mash circle anytime I see anything about to happen, let's go.
Bosses, because the style boss fight has been shifted to be something much more similar to a Souls-style boss, where you're trying to memorize the boss's patterns and dodge or parry accordingly. Now, where I fucked up,
didn't memorize any pattern. I wasn't like, except for in Lee, where he had a horizontal, vertical. But other than that, I wasn't just like, okay, scream is lunging. I just went red, L1.
But for somebody that admittedly does not have the reflexes for that, they are going to need to recognize that pattern of, oh, she's doing a double turn head thing. Here comes the third one that I can parry. Or I saw the first one, I can parry the second.
I'm wondering about the mental cognition to recognize.
He was half tired.
Yeah, he was half tired.
Now, where I fucked up in particular is that I didn't pick up on the fact that a lot of these bosses are easier to parry than they are to dodge. Because if an attack just has the white spider sense symbol, I assume I should be able to dodge it no problem. But there's a lot of ending lag on the dodge, and so it's actually faster and more reliable to parry them like you would in Sekiro or some other similar.
I don't think there's a lot of ending lag on the.
I think it's just one of those things where this attack cannot be dodged.
Yeah, it can't. It just simply cannot be dodged.
Dodging is not gonna do what it's gonna do.
Sekiro or
maybe he had lag. Like if he's playing wireless, if his setup might be inducing lag.
Maybe he just trash.
He's admittedly trash.
Them like you would in Sekiro or some other similar game, but I fucked up a lot on these bosses because of the parry system, and ultimately I'm just not a big fan. I'm not going to say it's bad game design, because I don't really think it is, but it personally made the combat less fun for me. And it's not really worth explaining the rest of the combat mechanics because you should already be familiar with them. It plays like an Arkham game with a heavy emphasis on air combos. In fact, air combos are just better than ground combos. But with the downside being that if there are any...
does it play like Arkham? It has
the skeleton.
Again.
It has the skeleton of it.
No, yeah, just the square dodge, but
Counter.
yeah, counter for that. But gadgets, different gadgets.
It doesn't matter.
air
It has the
combat.
skeleton of
Yeah,
it.
no, I'm saying. Again, same thing with the how much woke stuff. How much do we before we stop saying Arkham like?
Side being
There's a
that
heavy emphasis on
I mean,
air.
to this day, we use Metroidvania for games.
Who is we? Don't say we.
But with the downside being that if there are any ranged enemies in the area, they will immediately target you as soon as you knock an enemy into the air. Now, to talk about the enemies,
I think that they do that more or less than. I never noticed that.
I didn't either. I can't agree or disagree.
Yeah, I've never. I think I would have noticed that because there's 2 trials with the Mysterio stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which I completed, that are
Of course.
do not get hit. And there was a couple ranged people, and I think I would have noticed that I am dodging more in the air. Yeah, I would have liked some facts checking on that.
I was a little bit disappointed on this front. The enemy variety is somewhat lacking. It's not as bad as it seems on paper, but in practicality, you're fighting the same handful of Craven goons about 75% of the time. And you've already fought most of these enemies.
I think there's a good variety of enemies. You got the big people, you got the smaller people, you got the knife people,
Shield people,
Shield.
staff, yeah.
Yeah, for the Craven goons, yeah, you got those. You got the flamethrower people that you have to avoid in that way. I think there's like 4 varieties of symbiotes.
Mm-hmm.
There's like one that's super, super fast and gets right in your face. I'm fine with the variety of enemies.
What is the appropriate variety of enemies? Like, how many enemies were in older Spyro games or older Ratchet and Clank games compared to this current version of Insomniac?
Time. And you've already fought most of these enemy types in the previous game, with the exception of the new brute enemy types now all having an undodgeable...
What do you mean these enemy types? What are they supposed to have?
I guess he wants like a jetpack enemy? Oh no, there is one. I think there is one that flies.
I was going to say, then you just web them and then you just start punching them.
An undodgeable attack that you have to parry instead. There's also a robotic panther that can shoot out a wave that temporarily disables your abilities. That was a pretty good idea. I like that. But that's pretty much all I have to say about it. If you played one of these Arkham games, you've fought all of these basic enemy types before. Now, the combat is usually somewhat fun, most of the time, just because of how fast...
Usually is somewhat fun. The f do you say about that? What does that mean?
What argument can you have for or against?
You can't give this a compliment. Usually somewhat. Get that bull out of here.
It's fun or it's not.
Most of the time, just because of how fast-paced it is a little on the brainless side because of you constantly spamming one of your 4 abilities or one of your 4 gadgets. But
No,
it
that's
also
not
lets you...
brainless. Sometimes you're just like, I don't want to deal with this knife person, so I'm just gonna concussion blast them.
Have to.
But it also lets you take
You
out...
mix and match them.
If it's brainless, that means you had to have not died. Because you would just be spamming your stuff and winning.
But there's also big cooldowns on a lot of things.
Oh, dude,
so what
those
happens?
cooldowns are disgusting.
You spam them, and then what? You go into your next fight, and you've got no gadgets, no abilities. But again, what I like to do is do the big gather thing, and then
I did the exact same. That's optimal.
Your 4 gadgets, but it also lets you take out a lot of enemies fairly quickly. So while it certainly doesn't have the skill ceiling that the Arkham games have, especially since it has a little bit of a jankness factor to it, it's hard to...
What's the skill ceiling for the Arkham games?
I guess because you can hit a lot of people at once, unlike the Arkham game. I haven't played them in a long time, so I can't remember if you could or couldn't.
But again, there's some jank to it. Do you mean? What's the jank?
We're waiting for the explanation.
We're waiting for the jank.
There's a lot of time here.
Jankness factor to it. It's hard to describe, but the game doesn't.
Oh, never mind.
Oh, whoops.
It's hard to just describe what I am literally saying to you. I said it does the thing, and I can't explain what I mean by does the thing.
I introduced the concept that I cannot explore. I apologize. The game isn't as good as this other game for reasons I properly cannot explain. Moving on.
It just is somewhat kinda.
There's a jank feeling. Anyway. Thank you. I now understand what you mean.
Describe, but the game doesn't always do what you want it to do. Whereas in Arkham, it pretty much works perfect.
I never felt that.
Yeah, I don't know what he means. Maybe if you weren't spamming your buttons, the thing you didn't want to come out wouldn't come out. This is very much like, I know we said we weren't going to talk about him. This is an actual talking about him. It's a lot like Phil when he'll double tap a button just to make it come out, because that's from the old arcade game days of make sure the button comes out by double tapping it. And then he'll go, I didn't do that. Well, you hit the button multiple times. That's exactly what happened, because I was rewatching This Is How You Don't Play on FIFA 12. That's exactly what would happen, because he would double tap a button so he'd steal and then pass it because he'd double tap it. Stop spamming your buttons.
Every button press is important. This game, it's much more mashy. Again, except for the boss.
Pause. No,
okay.
You said that you don't have the reflexes like that, so you're mashing. It's not about what the game is. It's about what you're doing.
It's technically more mashy, because there are abilities eventually where if you get a perfect timing in Arkham, it goes up by a factor of 2, your combo meter, instead of a factor of 1, that type of thing. But beyond that, it's no more or less mashy.
But in here, if you get a perfect parry or a perfect dodge, I think something happens when you get.
There's a slight slowdown.
There's benefits for doing those things.
Again,
I fear his take on this fight.
Oh, the screen fight?
Yes. I
love the screen fight.
I am horrified at what he thinks about that.
Again, except for the boss fights. The boss fights are a significant challenge, and if I wasn't really tired while playing this game, I might have actually enjoyed them, with one small issue.
Pause. So now your fun factor is lessened because you're tired.
Why wouldn't you just play it tomorrow?
You're not having fun for 80% of the time because you're tired.
In part because you're tired. In part because of woke.
Why would he say that? What does this do for his review? You're saying your experience. Completely understandable. But this isn't fun because I was tired. What does that do for somebody who wants to buy this game?
You are purposely hindering your experience by playing this game while you're tired. Because you have just said that if I wasn't tired, I may have enjoyed them. You robbed yourself of the ability to enjoy this game, the potential ability to potentially enjoy this game by playing it while you were tired. I'm not even saying the game would have been better in your eyes. You just have no idea because it was lessened because of your tiredness.
Like eating a meal when you're not hungry.
Or when you pick up a drink and you think it's a water, but it's a Sprite. Like, you can like Sprite, but it's not what you wanted at that moment.
I hate that feeling. It's horrifying. It's like, because you're just like, oh, this water that going bad or something.
What's in this? No, it's Sprite.
It's shampoo. No, it's Sprite.
With one small issue, maybe not a small issue actually, I would say it's a big issue, that the bosses have way too much health, and every single boss has multiple phases. Now, normally, a boss having multiple phases is kind of cool, but in this game, a lot of bosses, in fact, over half of the bosses have 3 phases, and 2 of them have 4 phases.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
too
completely
fucking
fine.
much, dude. There's no reason that an
disagree.
Arkham-style boss needs to take.
You need to stop. It's an Arkham style boss. It's
Stop comparing
a
it to
Dark
that.
Souls style boss. Maybe it's its own boss.
Yeah. I would prefer that the big final boss of Venom don't go down in like 2 punches or 2 phases. That doesn't speak to his challenge. Lizard is rampaging through the city. He's got 1 health bar. You beat him in 5 minutes. That's story and gameplay just gotta match up sometimes. And this is a hard fought boss and a hard fought person, so you gotta fight him a lot. I don't care about what your arbitrary amount of this
Arkham or Dark Souls ish. It should be like these games.
Would he prefer 1 big health bar, but segmented into small segments?
And here's another thing. He complained that there's not really anything to talk about with the gameplay because you played these Arkham games and the Arkham games did them better anyway because this is just kind of mashy. But now he's complaining that is not like the Arkham game.
Yeah.
But I guess it's because essentially he just doesn't like the way it was implemented.
It's ignoring the good of the Arkham and taking the bad.
Take 10 minutes to defeat, especially since this is the type of game where if you sort of lose the flow and start fucking up, you can very easily die and then have to restart that phase over.
Sounds like it's not brain dead then if you can't just turn off your brain and do the
just
thing.
mash. Maybe think about what you're doing. Maybe pay attention. Maybe is it that he's tired that his reflexes are bad, or
no? He said he had bad
but
reflexes.
are they worsened because he's tired, and thus he thinks that this is harder than it is? Because I think I died on I died on Lee because I was just dumb and couldn't figure out, like, because he had the dome around. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Help! And I died once, and then I beat him. And I died a couple times on somebody else that I can't remember.
Venom, Lizard, Scream, with Miles.
I think it was Venom versus Craven. But that was just because that's why I was just like, this isn't grabbing me like it, because Venom has less moves and it's just more of the hard combat. You just feel like a big Hulk, and I'm like, gadgets, come on!
Have to restart that phase over again. Another issue is that some of the bosses can be stun locked with your abilities and gadgets. I'm not entirely sure if this is intentional, and it might just be given the...
It's only temporary though. Because they are webbed up. Yep. They are not immune to web. You're throwing web around them. They're webbed up for a second and they break out of it. It's not like your rank and file grunts that are webbed up for some 40 seconds and then you can just go around everybody else and then come back to them. No. This is a boss fight. You can get a little bit of help with your gadgets, but it's not going to be as good because the big float up one, they're not going to float up. They're just going to get hit a little bit, but you get a little bit of help with those gadgets.
Might just be given the overly inflated health bars, but normally you're supposed to dodge or parry the 4 or 5 attack sequence, and then you get your 4 or 5 punches in. But you can then
you're supposed to use the things that you have available.
Sometimes it's punching, sometimes it's going to be an ability.
I guess concussive blasts just aren't supposed to work because this is just a boss battle. No, they don't work as well, but they still do work.
You can then use an ability and get another 4 or 5 punches, then use another ability. Usually they'll have a combo breaker at some point and then start attacking again, which in and of itself feels very jank because they can attack almost immediately after they do their combo breaker. In later bosses, this strategy doesn't work at all. And I don't think I need to tell you why it's a problem.
Okay, why couldn't you showcase that right here and now?
Because in later bosses, it doesn't work.
No, he said that they're able to do their combo breaker after.
Yeah, that part.
And I'm like, okay, he's about to showcase that now because I don't know what he's talking about. And in which case, you know that on the 4th hit, he's going to do a combo breaker, then immediately attack. And then what can you do? You can dodge or you can parry. Hey, what's been happening on the 4th hit? Every single time been a dodge. So dodge.
It's a problem.
You can't think because you're either tired or your reflexes are bad. I'm not going to get on you for your reflexes being bad, but I'm going to get on you for being tired.
Because that is a fixable thing.
That is a solvable thing. This isn't a Phil thing. Phil has hard deadlines that he has to beat these games by. I'm late on beating in Call of Duty. 3 days. He can't. So,
I took a week off, so I'm behind on all playthroughs.
Get out of here. So there's no deadline to beat this game. Unless there was a deadline, in which case he was going on vacation or something like that, and he had to beat it.
No, because he made this video a week out, or a week after it came out. So
I need to tell you why it's a problem that it's not clear when it's the boss's turn to attack, especially when the game.
Your spider sense.
Your spider sense on the 4th hit of this consistently happening. What do you think the 5th time that you do the 4th hit is? What do you think is gonna happen? Mayhaps it's gonna be their turn. I don't know. Hey, I guess let me just wail on this villain for all of their. Oh, they're fighting back. How was I supposed to know? What was the indication that they would get a chance to fight back?
Especially when the game relies on the player's reflexes for half the challenge. Okay, that's pretty much all I got to say about game.
So, what else could it rely on in a game like this? You either mash the buttons and then they just die, or you have to dodge them when it's their turn. What else could it possibly be?
The only thing I could think of is he wanted more lax time to dodge and parry.
But then he would be complaining about it being too easy.
And I don't doubt that there was probably something like that in accessibility options that would have allowed.
Yeah. But, it's hidden under accessibility. I know there is one that makes parrying a little more lenient.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's pretty much all I got to say about gameplay. It's probably the best element in the game. I'm not going to say it's bad. It might not be my thing.
That it was, what did he say? It was
sometimes kind of fun, kind of.
Something like that, where he put like 3 qualifiers on. It's alright, kind of.
It's mostly fun at times. It's mostly somewhat fun.
Yeah, Ashley, she stank, but she kind of pretty.
But I can certainly acknowledge that it is fun enough, and it's the only reason why.
Fun enough is a crazy bar.
Did you say I can kind of acknowledge?
Yes.
I can kind of acknowledge. This is somebody.
I'll give this full sentence.
Best element in the game. I'm not going to say it's bad. It might not be my thing, but I can certainly acknowledge that it is fun enough, and it's the only reason why anybody actually enjoys this game.
I like the story.
I quite like the story. I liked a lot of the costumes, even though a lot of them are stinkers.
Yes, there are a lot of poopy.
There are a lot, and then there's some that are just so good. It's like I have to switch off. That
I've been running around for legitimately 4 hours in this.
The default one where it's just miles and then it's just like it cuts off into white for the bottom half. That was stuck. And like I said, once I hit that Venom cartoon with half blue, half red, I was like, well, what are we doing here? You guys gotta take this away from me. I can't have this. It looks so good. And then they force me in that darn base one. I like it. I like the oozing. I like the neck where you can see it oozing. I like sometimes where it just cuts to like his side and you can see it oozing. That's all well and good. Don't force me in that. It should be the cutscene. You have your Venom outfits for the cutscenes, and you default into those. If you're not into those, and you're into just your dumb in Amazing Spider-Man 2 outfit is gonna be the base Venom one. But if you have this symbiote or this costume symbiote, the costume symbiote will go into, because it's just a symbiote. Don't force me to wear that when I got the bangerest one.
Actually enjoys this game, if we're being real. Okay, well, what about the sandbox? Again, this is much like the first game. There's a lot of repetitive activities where basically just...
It's a darn shame that that's the only Spider-Verse costume he gets.
I do not care about the argument of repetitive, because all games, by their very nature, are repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
That word alone as a criticism is not enough of a criticism. It needs to be explored and explained. Just the word repetitive is nothing.
They are not forcing you to do the Sandman stuff. You are actively
Sandbox.
making a choice. I said Sandman.
He said sandbox.
I said Sandman.
Okay.
Because the Sandbox stuff is there's a bunch of stuff going on and you can choose whatever you want to do and wherever you want to go. But it's not forcing you to do the Sandman stuff. You're making a choice to do this.
Mhm.
So you can choose to do something that will freshen things up. You do 3 Sandmans and then you do 1 Peter Parker
Plant.
bee thing or whatever.
We're basically just making your way to some rooftop or some alley and beating up a bunch of dudes to progress some side quest. Those are completely fine because at least you're playing the game during those times. One thing I will say is...
But why is combat not repetitive? Why is that fine?
Why is you literally just said like 100% of the Sandman side missions in 2 sentences? That is repetition.
But it's fine.
Because at least you're actually playing the game as opposed to playing a mini game within the game
for 5 minutes.
times. One thing I will say is I completed the Sandman questline and the conclusion was incredibly disappointing and pointless. There was only
what? His daughter's fine and Peter just going, good, I'm happy she's safe. Maybe I can, because Sandman is clearly not a bad guy. He was being manipulated and taken over. So maybe I can hook him up with a lawyer that'll give him at least some visitation. Because Sandman already gave up. Because he's just like, give her the doll thing to remember me by. So
because I'm donezo.
Donezo. But he's going, I can hook him up with something. It's not this big, girl, your daddy loves you. Thank you, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
No, it's just this small, hey, she's safe. The thing that Sandman was worried about is not a worry. Good for him. Spider-Man got no dog in this fight.
And in the future,
maybe something good will happen. You do 20 Sandman fight things, and you get this nice little conclusion. I don't. What did you say? Or was that just
Yeah, that was it.
No, it wasn't.
Questline, and the conclusion was incredibly disappointing and pointless. There was only one major side.
Oh, thank you so much. I would not. I constantly say I would not. I would have substantive things to say. I would. He's bigger to comparing.
Yes.
Why not compare something that happened in the Arkham games for a side mission instead of just going this bad?
Yeah. Hey, the Riddler trophies compared to getting the Sandman thing, anything, instead of just going pointless. The ending was pointless.
There was only one major side quest line I actually liked, and here I'll give you your one and only spoiler warning for this video, because I'm just going to spoil basically everything from here on out, I like the build up to Carnage with this whole Cult of the Flame thing.
Oh, but Yuri, but woke. But Yuri, she was fighting Spider-Man, but woke. Oh, I can't wait for his argument of simply, but a woman, but put the chromosome. Yeah, okay, cool.
Thing. Now, the thing that I absolutely despise that you could probably guess is that
Oh,
You didn't have to wait long.
I didn't actually want this. I was talking a big game. And girl, I'm gonna f you up. Get in my bed. It's over for you. Oh, word?
Yeah, I'll be there tonight. What's up? Yeah,
Look,
so
man, I'm a 4-incher. That's all I got.
that's on my best day.
I'm sorry. I didn't expect it to get this far.
I done popped like 4 gas station pills. It's not doing nothing. I gotta actually hit it now.
guess is that Yuri, the cop from the first game who works with Spider-Man throughout the game, has now become a vigilante akin to the Punisher. She's a mall ninja dressed in purple with a fucking chain sickle. She had a gun as a cop and is now downgraded to a fucking chain sickle and swings around kinda like Spider-Man.
Okay, but it's said that she doesn't kill everybody. Otherwise, Spider-Man would stop her. She said that he said that she is doing good. She kills some people, but not everybody.
I think his issue particularly there was that you're using a less effective weapon as opposed to just having a gun to shoot people.
Again, shooting people, I think that's a lot, it leads heavier into they could die than just a blunt end of a sickle.
Kinda like Spider-Man. And it's implied that she kills people, though we never see her actually killing anybody. And there's multiple things that are cringe about this character. First of all, she acts like a try-hard edgelord. Another case of a strong female character basically just embodying toxic masculinity traits.
What? Try hard edgelord.
She is obsessed about this one guy that got away.
That's very dangerous and is leading a fire cult.
And Spidey's just like, hold up. Let's just talk him out. Let's just see what's going on.
In that
she's
scene,
like, no, throw him into the dirt.
In that scene, they were fighting and he webbed Carnage up and threw him out the window. And then they went out there and he's gone. It's like, we had him. You were fighting me when we could have stopped him. And what is his argument? Try hard edgelord. Okay, great. Would it be better if she was a man?
No, because I guess the issue is just the try hard edgelord right now. But he did bring up the strong woman, but the only reason.
Does it lead into that or is it a separate?
Yes.
Toxic masculinity traits. And she talks shit to Spider-Man the whole time, despite being buddies with him in the last game. And it's implied that
there was a bit of annoyance in that as well, because Spider-Man is annoying. But she also banters with him, because I remember going into
he didn't play the DLC.
He didn't. Maybe he did. And maybe
he
just
couldn't have, because by the end they were no longer that buddies.
Maybe he just forgot.
Okay.
But again, going into the room, there was something like a casket joke, and and she said something like, "That's where I buried Spider Cop." And he was like, "Oh man." So there was still that little bit of
banter.
And it's implied that a normal human with no powers, no real training, at least it's not shown on screen where training is a match for Spider-Man because she has her own...
She is not a match for Spider-Man.
He's not trying to hurt her.
No.
He's not really trying to fight her. No, and this is a disconnect of gameplay and cutscene.
Absolutely. But if you want to say that, you can say that if you put down a controller against just one single enemy, that enemy can kill you.
Yes.
So are they a match for Spider-Man?
That hits you with the baton, backs up 3 steps waiting for your attack, and then comes up and hits you again.
They could kill you. So are they a match? This is a fight wherein he is trying his best to just subdue her, and she's not.
Because she has her own 2-phase boss fight most of the way through the quest line. She got punched 10,000 times. She's completely fine. Are you fucking joking?
gameplay and cutscene disconnect.
And he wasn't trying to hurt her.
You fucking joke. Is gameplay canon? Is gameplay canon in modern games?
To a degree.
I really have to wonder. So really, the only reason why I like this quest is the final mission where Spider-Man has to defuse a bunch of bombs and then derail this train. The train ends up nearly killing him. It crushes him up to his neck. And Cletus nearly burns him alive while also obtaining a piece of the Venom symbiote. And he literally even says the word carnage.
I don't know why, but I just love the fact that he's barefoot. I noticed that. I'm just like, I love it.
As the word carnage, if it wasn't any more clear at this point. Now,
I
before
didn't expect that. What do you mean if it wasn't more clear at this point? I didn't expect that. I thought that this was just either some made-up villain or a villain that was in the comics that I just didn't know about because I'm not a Spider-Man comic reader. So I'm just like, oh, this is just the Flame, and he's just some dude that holds a fire card. That's cool.
At this point. Now, before I devolve into just talking about all the various aspects that I hate about this game, I guess I'll give a very quick mention of the web swinging.
There seems to be a lot of people that love playing the Sonic soundtrack.
Web swinging. Now, the swinging physics are still inferior to the original Spider-Man 2.
Yo, can we stop with this blowing of in Spider-Man 2? That game is mid.
Oh no.
It is not a good game. I want to hear what the argument is in terms of the swinging.
Still,
the argument is it feels better.
I'm going to say you have more agency because you can hold it
mess
to,
up.
and you can hold it to increase the momentum and that type of stuff.
You have to be more strategic on when your arc ends, and that's how you get faster. And it's a little more lenient in this game.
Physics
are still. Physics are still inferior to the original Spider-Man 2. If you saw my last video, you'll know I just played Spider-Man 2, so I can absolutely verify that the swinging was more satisfying in that game because it took more skill and had much better physics. It just had more momentum and felt faster than this, though in reality I don't think that's actually true. I believe people have done the tests before. And by default, in the settings, there's a swing assist feature.
But why would you introduce the fact that the other one felt faster if you didn't know?
I've always said that people have, this is a whole we don't have time for a Superman type thing.
But again, he goes, it takes more skill. In what way? I guess watch his other video.
Yeah. I wish he would have at least explained a little bit of what he thought. Because it couldn't take more than 20 seconds to explain it instead of me having to go click an entirely separate video
and hopefully find that segment.
There's a swing assist feature that is maxed out that makes it pretty much impossible to fail at swinging. It will actually alter the momentum and the angle of your swing so that you don't hit the ground. Now, of course, about halfway through the game, I turned this off to see the difference, and it does feel a little bit better without the swing assist. But now with the addition of the wingsuit, it's harder to fail anyway, because as soon as you jump at the height of your swing, you can just break out the wingsuit real quick and glide, keeping most of your momentum. And then once you slow down, you start swinging again. So it's even more.
Because you lose your momentum by doing the wingsuit a little bit. Because I remember just going very, very fast wingsuit, and then it's slow.
But he's saying that you can reach your speed wingsuit. When you slow down, swing again, wingsuit.
But if you slow, what's the difference between swing, slow down, swing again, or zip to a lamppost, or?
Couldn't tell you that part.
Once you slow down, you start swinging again, so it's even more brainless. And Spider-Man with the wingsuit just feels wrong. And man, I'm just really...
He has a wingsuit. He has web. It's in the comics.
Feels wrong. And man, I'm just really sick of wingsuits in general. Maybe because I've played so many modern games in the past decade, but I think the only time I legit...
Hey, It's funny that you say this while playing Just Cause 4, which came out like 8 years ago. Can you point me to the next game that had a wingsuit, please?
Time I legitimately enjoyed one was Just Cause 3, and even then I enjoyed said wingsuit even more when you purchase the first DLC and it turns into an Iron Man jetpack with a machine gun and missiles. Ultimately, I just don't really like wingsuits that much anymore. It was a cool novelty in that game and in Far Cry 3 and 4.
But outside of you being tired of it, what's the problem with it? I guess outside of also, it doesn't feel like Spider-Man for some arbitrary reason.
So he brought up Just Cause 3 and he brought up Far Cry 4 as, I guess, his most recent examples of when this happened. Far Cry 4 came out in 2014. No point in saying Far Cry 3 because it was earlier. Just Cause 3 came out in, because I was saying Just Cause 4, 2015. 8 years ago, which is what I said, which is crazy.
Far Cry 3 and 4, but I've already seen it way too many fucking times. It doesn't belong in a Spider-Man game. That said,
I've seen it a lot, so it doesn't belong here.
Is that, is this not his gameplay or is he just not on camera?
I don't know about this part. I don't know. There might have been times he was playing off stream and just decided to record some supplementary footage. Because it seems like a lot of his in-game stuff doesn't seem to be on stream. So maybe he did go to sleep and just like, I'm going to finish this game off stream because it's boring.
a Spider-Man game. That said, I might be a little critical here, but I do think swinging around the city is still fun. Just not as fun as the original Spider-Man 2. Okay, that's pretty much everything that I even vaguely liked about the game. We're only going downhill from here. I pretty much have nothing else to say positively about this game. I honestly don't even know where to begin. I guess we can stick with the sandbox for now, and we'll cover the story later. There's a lot of story-based side quests in this game that are tagged with the superhero app that this fat Asian kid named Genki made for you. I never played the...
Now, what's the reason?
Accuracy. The harsh truth of the world.
Yeah, that's, you know, it doesn't do anything for your argument to say that.
Yeah, the superhero app, what's the issue with it? Well, he'll explain it.
For you, I never played the Miles Morales game for obvious reasons. So,
dude, are we meant to assume what those obvious, perhaps racially based reasons are?
Dude, I can't imagine not playing a game I could potentially like because
that's a continuation of a game that he may or may not have liked. I don't remember. I don't know if he does.
Simply because of the main character is a thing.
For obvious reasons, it's very telling. This parody level of I am a racist.
It is saying the loud part very quietly. You know what I'm saying.
You know what's up. It doesn't even need to look on screen. Moving on. Hint. What are we doing here? An Asian, a half black person? Come on now. They're races?
This game for obvious reasons. So I had no idea who the fuck this kid is, and I really don't care.
This is crazy. It has to be that he's a tangential fan of Spider-Man, if he is a fan of Spider-Man. Because how would you not know Miles Morales and Genki? Especially if you watch the Spider-Verse movies. Mm-hmm. I wonder if he's done a video on Spider-Verse.
You get what you need in this game.
Yes.
So I even if you don't play the other one, all you need is that this is his friend. He's smart. He helps out. In the first mission, he goes, "Hey, Miles, go here for this water thing. Hey, Mr. Parker. Yeah, I know what's up. You got what you need then and there."
If he's been featured in the comics, He's a lame character. I don't like him. Spider-Man is a
you didn't care, so you didn't care to look at his good or bad point. You're just looking at him as, I don't know who this person is. I don't like him for obvious reasons. He's lame.
What made him lame?
Obvious reasons. Look at him. Look at his skin tone. Look at his parentage. Look where he came. Look. His character, his actions, no.
His dialogue.
Obvious reasons.
Character, I don't like him. Spider-Man is a genius. He can make his own fucking gadgets, okay? Stop taking shit.
You can be a genius and not be as genius as someone else, or not be a genius in a field that they're a genius in.
So Batman just doesn't need Alfred. He doesn't need him for support or anything else, for help in any small manner of ways. Looking on grids and pointing, hey, go here to help people in this way. There's no situation where
maybe, sorry to cut you off. Maybe Peter and Miles don't have the knowledge or capabilities to build an app.
Or the time. Or the know-how. Or even just the want to do so to be able to quickly help people. Didn't have the inspiration to go, hey, this is a good idea.
Okay, stop taking shit away from him. Oh wait, this whole game.
Hey, Genki has always been smarter than Miles, and he's potentially smarter than Peter.
But look at him.
Of course he'd be smarter. Look at him.
Oh, no.
Oh wait, this whole game takes shit away from him, but we'll get to that. Hold on. So through this stupid superhero app, instead of Spider-Man solving real problems like supervillains robbing banks or killing people,
Spider-Man is one of my favorite moments in any Spider-Man movie is him with the little kid and, oh, you made this whip. Hey, this is awesome. He is a neighborhood, small time, helping people out type of villain.
Hero.
No, he's a villain. In this outfit, he's a villain. But again, bank robberies. Okay, you fight them, you chase them, and then you...
If he had a problem with Pigeon Dude, we're gonna have problems.
Yeah. Look at him. Hey, he had a problem with him for obvious reasons. Oh no.
robbing banks or killing people, he decides to help randos who have some kind of trivial issue they could easily solve themselves.
Hey, you mean like how Spider-Man helps old ladies across the street because he's a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man? There are many issues that Spider-Man deals with that isn't just punching bad guys in the face. You can't... Where does he get his Spider-Man knowledge from?
Why can't Spider-Man? Spider-Man was delivering pizzas in the Spider-Man game that he liked.
Spider-Man too, but that was his job.
But still, that was a mundane task.
Hey, he was getting balloons that were flying away in Spider-Man 2.
Mundane task.
Because he helps the little person.
And again, don't do it if you don't want to.
Easily solve themselves. For example, you help some black woman find her grandpa.
Now, Mr. Man. What does it do to know that he's a black guy?
Or the black woman or anything?
What does this do other than obvious reasons?
Obvious reasons.
And find her grandpa who's gotten lost in Central Park or something. And you legitimately...
You weren't paying attention enough to go, he got lost in Central Park or something. You weren't paying attention.
This man was disconnected from the source material. He couldn't give less of a shit about the game.
And he couldn't care enough to look back at his footage and go, what was happening here?
Or even just look up a synopsis of what was happening
He
there.
has to downplay it as this was boring because he was lost or something.
I don't know. That's how bored I was.
So you cannot engage with what's happening here.
I wasn't engaged.
Yes, he's introducing this as he was lost or something.
or something. and you legitimately waste your time walking around the park, finding some random evidence, doing a fucking god-awful mini-game. And this game's full of shitty mini-games, by the way. They're just straight-up padding. They add nothing. They require no brain power. Though I say that, funny enough...
You say that as you're constantly failing this mini-game!
Wait
I think he's about to make that joke.
No brain power. Though I say that, funny enough, I did get stumped by an incredibly easy one at one point. Guys, I'm feeling...
It's an incredibly easy one that
you
requires no brain power.
I don't think this is I don't think you realize the own goal you just hit on yourself. Where you go, this is an incredibly easy puzzle that stumped me. I don't think you get.
But again, if we're looking back at the Arkham games, there was one where you just sort of twiddled your thumbs
to make sure it hit the right frequency, that type of stuff.
At least here you go, okay, there's 3 lines, there's a 1 line, and he's laying them all down, and then going, well, it doesn't. Go back! Because he had them all laid down, like, what's going on? Look at that! Why are they all down there like that? You should see that, hey, that one has 3 lines that aren't white, and then the one on the left is going 3 lines that are white. There is nothing that well, no, there is one! What place that and when?
No, because he had to do 2 green plants. And
he didn't account for it.
That funny enough, I did get stumped by an incredibly easy one at one point. Guys, I'm feeling.
Go back. You see that red mark where he tried to place something that couldn't go there? Right there, the H. That doesn't go there, and he still tried to place it there.
Yeah, because the H is in the green.
You see that it's red for like a hot second.
Yeah, you can see the red. I'm just going back to see what because that's yellow.
Why did he think that it went there? Because he's not a smart person. How can you get stumped on this?
He's an admittedly not smart person, apparently.
But does that make it okay?
Easy one at one point. Guys, I'm feeling dumb. My dumbness is activating. God. Retard mode engaged. I guess that's another moment for the Son of DSP compilation. But of course, at the end of this quest line, you find the grandpa, he talks about his wife, and that's it. That's the whole point of the quest, is to listen to some old man.
It was such a nice story!
Yeah, it's a low-level, small type of thing in a game where Venom takes over New York. Here's this small thing where you're just helping some dude and talking to him and listening to him, and then you go about your day.
Listen to some old man reminisce about his wife when he was younger. But it gets much worse than that.
Now, it's incredibly telling that the 2 side quests he marked as boring both dealt with a black old dude.
I disagree. I think that he has no agenda in these, and he has no politics, and he doesn't see color, frankly.
Worse than that, there's another quest where you help some old black guy free his pigeon.
Well, I guess he does see color, but is black a color, or is it simply a shade?
The absence of color.
The absence of color, exactly. Now we're getting philosophical here. Now we got to think about these things. Is he the most woke for seeing everything all at once?
Guy free his pigeons because he's about to die, and so they need to find a new home. And all you do is just swing around the city with pigeons flying around you while a copyrighted song plays. That's the whole fucking mission.
It's such a nice moment.
It's a nice moment
in Peter's life for a dude he knew. If you would have played in games,
and it's 5-10 minutes.
It's the whole fucking mission. And oh, big shock, he's dead when you come back. Ooh, how sad. There's another side quest.
I love this side quest so much! And I was gonna mention it!
But look at her.
She's blind.
And she's
where you help some blind woman because apparently there's a monster in her yard. It turns out it's one of these robotic panther enemies, and Genki reprograms it to be a dog, a heckin' pupperino, and you train it by shooting webs at shit in the environment. And of course you give the robot dog to the lady, which has a fucking rainbow painted on it for some fucking reason. This whole game.
It also has a flower. It also has a little, was that a handprint?
And it also looks like a little monster up top.
It has a lot of things on it. But it has the one thing,
The thing
this
that
nice
matters.
moment, this dumb little side quest, but he focuses in on this thing and it lessens it for him.
It was already a 0. Now it's a negative 1.
Man, just this, I couldn't imagine.
Some fucking reason this whole game's like that. That's just the tip of the iceberg for that shit. Oh, but it gets
Why are
worse.
you doing missions with the venom on your back? Turn that shit in.
He knows what it is.
The story's kinda hurts when you're doing this dumb dog mission with the planetary devastator on your back.
It gets worse. It gets much
course
worse.
it does.
This was a terrible mission.
This is a bad mission.
This was terrible.
Not because of the reasons why he's gonna say.
Yes, no, it was just very boring.
It gets much worse. There's another mission where you go to Miles' private school and help some Zoomer mutt who I couldn't even tell was a woman.
Excuse me. Excuse sir. Whoa. Sir.
We might need to stop. We might get shut down.
Some mutt? Zoomer mutt.
That's crazy.
That's nuts.
That's a crazy bar.
This is that deep down hate. And this is what he's putting out. What is he not putting out?
And tell was a woman until I looked closely. Take pictures around the school, including of their fucking esports club. And then the quest.
You're playing a video game. You have nerds in their esports.
Why aren't superhero games good anymore?
And then the quest all of you were waiting for me to talk about, where you help a gay kid.
And pause. And you see, that's his audience.
Mhm.
This is like us in Mark Month.
Yeah.
They know, they see a Mark video, they go, oh, I can't wait for them to talk about this.
We're not talking about it.
We're talking about it, which is about all you're gonna get. But they see this gay thing and they're like, oh,
I can't wait.
I can't wait for this guy to just go gay. What more can you get other than gay?
How interesting is it? Because at least with stuff like the Mark videos, Mark's arguments are different, so our arguments are going to be different. How many times can you listen to a person just go, the right, the left, the woke, Nazis? How many times can you just hear the words and that be, oh, I guess I'm still entertained?
I'm still here. This is what I'm here for. Let's go.
Help a gay kid ask this dude out to homecoming. Spider-Man
His already boyfriend, by the way.
a homecoming. Spider-Man is wasting his fucking time helping some gay kid.
Pause. Now, I was laughing because he was just like, I've been with him for so long, and I just shook my head and I just went, woke. And I just laughed to myself for like 2 minutes. I just went, woke. Cause I gotta assume that's what they're like. It's just, here it is again.
Ask out another gay kid. Are you fucking kidding me? What the hell, man? It's not like this is fun. No, you just jump around some rooftops and shoot some webs at some shit. And the game forces you to watch. I literally tried to leave.
Yes.
And the game forced me to web back onto the lamppost over and over again. This is what I'm talking about. This is how you know it's propaganda. They're shoving it down your fucking throat. And no, it being an
No, this is a side mission. that you actively go into to engage with?
I mean, is the relationship of Peter and MJ being shoved down your throat, considering that's in story, unskippable?
Completely. It's the culmination of his story.
That's a heteronormative relationship.
Same thing with Miles and Little Deaf Girl, who is black. You know,
and deaf.
I just to mention it.
Double
you know,
woke.
I mean, I'm nothing woke about this. I'm just mentioning it. I'm just saying.
Fucking throat. And no, it being an optional side quest is not an excuse.
Oh,
okay.
I guess it's not an excuse.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's not an excuse.
Oh, why is it not an excuse?
It's shoved down your throat, but you have to go to the place.
You have to
open
go
your
to
mouth.
Shove down throats are us, and they're going.
Hey, why didn't sign up for this? I didn't expect this to happen.
Sir, your name is on the contract.
But still, why is this happening? This shouldn't be happening.
There is no excuse to shove things down my throat, despite me signing off on this exact thing
and paying for this exact thing and opening my mouth. Oh.
An excuse, especially since you had no way of knowing what you would see what this quest contained unless you read it on the internet.
I'll take that.
That part I will accept. You don't know what's coming, so you can't. Can't you press start and abandon mission?
I believe you can.
Then yes, you can.
Unless you read it on the internet. It's just a random side quest called Homecoming. But arguably, that's not even the word.
Look at him. This is everything you need.
This image should go up in a museum.
I'm not even looking at this. Spider-Man pleased with his accomplishment. These two people are happy. He's just sitting there woke.
Anything for love, guys. Happy for you both. Disgusting.
Them.
Arguably, that's not even the worst side quest in this game. Oh no, there's one even worse. There's a side.
I like this one.
I liked it.
It's a nice little reprieve from the typical gameplay loop where you get to experience a little bit of a downturn of a story and with some interesting audio tricks.
Yeah.
There's a side quest where you play as Miles' deaf girlfriend walking around spraying graffiti on walls. But what's actually hilarious about this mission, well, two things. First of all, you can actually turn on audio for this deaf girl that's being read by a real deaf person, which is very unintentionally hilarious, and I made the most lowbrow humor jokes imaginable here.
Black history and black futurism, the girl pink reflect better in person at Coney.
Yeah. Black futurism. I want my futurism. Wakanda forever. But in
Wow. Wowzers.
Comedy comes from, obviously, a place of mean-spirited a lot of times.
Yes.
But it's different making fun of something that you actively don't like.
Yes. I don't dislike black people. I will make a watermelon chicken joke today.
It's very funny. But that's where it's just like, you're not doing this. You're doing this to make fun.
Yes.
That is point one. This is to deride, and then maybe some comedy will come in later.
The derision itself is the comedy, as opposed to the comedy deriving from the derision of the thing you're deriding. I know I said deride a lot.
But in Insomniac's Infinite Wisdom, because they couldn't have this character talk to herself, at least out loud, because she's deaf, and this is a modern video game, so the protagonist has to comment on what's going on every 5 minutes, or the fucking soulless golem zoomers playing the game would get bored and turn it off, I guess.
No, there was a actual director of gameplay that people were complaining about all the yellow paint in Resident Evil 4 because that just points you to what you need to shoot at, to what you need to go up. The dude was like, look, we play tested this over months. People did not know where to go. They didn't know where to shoot. They didn't know where to look.
There's certain times in like the Prowler missions where you do something and he's just like, I gotta get a vantage point to yank the, I'm like, okay.
And that's all I need. But other people are going to need that, hey, jump up here and protect right here.
Here is the waypoint. It says 3 meters. Here's exactly what you need to go to. It's kind of like Borderlands. I think it's 3 where there's ledges that you can just grab on and it's got paint on there as well. And it's helpful because I'm like, oh, that's where I can.
I think something like that happens in, I want to say Horizon. And I think people hated it.
Yeah, I've got no problem with it.
Board and turn it off, I guess. Instead of making
This
her
is a
just
nice little twist on that.
Indeed.
just think, emojis pop up on the screen. Deaf people apparently can't think. They don't have words in their head. They can read, but they think in emotes. It's so woke, it circles back around to being like racist, sexist, ableist, whatever, you know. There's another quest where
hey, whatever this is, it is.
It is
big time is.
It's definitely an ist. There's some isms there.
There's something going on. I'm too tired to figure out what that is, but I don't like it for obvious reasons. Or I do. I don't.
Another quest where some of the school members decide to throw a big prank and they kidnap the school mascot, which might be a setup for an okay quest. In reality, you're just solving brain-dead puzzles the entire time. Light reflection puzzles that wouldn't be out of place in a shovelware PS2 game. But of course,
it is a side quest. Mini game, essentially.
This is like the 3rd time that you've classified something as brain dead. Maybe a thesaurus?
Maybe an explanation.
Oh,
Maybe explore what's brain dead about it and explain it to the audience so they can gather essentially what you mean about brain dead instead of just going brain dead.
Maybe show like a PS2 Grinch game that has this type of mechanic and just go, back in 2001, look at this, and here it is in 2023, woke.
PS2 game. But of course, about halfway through, they have to virtue signal to you and throw in a mural saying how great BIPOC artists are, and we all need to stick together. Because, you know, women think all minorities are the same, apparently. And you might...
What? What did that have to do with women?
Maybe the writer is a woman or something.
And you might wonder why I'm singling out women. Well,
the
lead writer of this game was a woman. And we'll get into that a little bit more later because it's kind of important, actually.
Is he gonna assume the same? She self-inserted herself into Mary Jane because they kind of look alike?
Yes, 100%.
Do these people not know how video games are made?
No, we've already... It's the talking point. You went, he's gonna talk about in pigeons, and of course he did. And it's just like the black guy. This is on a track. So what is the thing that he's gonna complain about? Once the Mary Jane scene, not the Mary Jane, once the black cat scene comes, of course he's gonna talk about a woman.
She's always been this in the hetero say, and now you've got a virtue signal.
I gotta watch these guys talk in Mexican.
How dare!
Taco burrito! Oh, I
can do it too!
I'm woke!
Sombreros, fella, right? Cinco de Mayo!
Blanca! That's Brazilian. Close enough!
Aren't they the same?
Hola!
Look at them!
Right?
Or later, because it's kind of important, actually, believe it or not, to the plot of this game, or at least one major mission in particular becomes pretty obvious. And not long afterward, you go to some African art section of the city, and there's a whole other side quest line about retrieving stolen instruments from this black art museum. My god, this game is full of
And you
shit
get
like
a
this,
very
dude.
nice outfit. I love that costume.
I hate it. Well, I only hate
What?
it because of the they stuck with the Mexican
I
flag.
don't care. It looks awesome. But you get a very fly outfit out of that.
The black guy wearing the costume of the guy who is a friendly neighborhood blank is doing friendly neighborhood things.
Boo.
Game is full of shit like this, dude. This is actually part of the main story, but you meet a
Oh, it's just full of things like that. Is he gonna zoom in on a trans flag and read?
Or are the books a rainbow? Let's see.
actually part of the main story, but you meet a scientist chick who has the
Yep.
non-binary flag and the monkeypox flag on her desk. There's a pawn shop with
Excuse me?
Dude, I legitimately never saw those flags. I legitimately never saw those.
Did he say monkeypox flag?
What does that mean?
I don't know. That seems like it's something within that circle that is propagated and spread, and it's just like, yeah, it's this thing, guys.
Right,
Hey, careful. hey, careful. Get on that list.
it is a. Where does it come from? Russian Empire? Oh no, that's the reverse, so it's upside down. Okay, I'll keep looking because I am genuinely curious.
on her desk. There's a pawn shop with the Ukraine flag on the inside, which this is the fucking comic books. This is exactly why I made those two Escapism is Dead videos, because modern developers will not let you escape reality. You must.
Reality
Go ahead.
reality is people of color walking around the street.
This is a game based on our reality. Secondly, games have never been escapism. Can we please stop the thought process that they were? They've always been inundated with politics and all these types of things. It was just, potentially not politics you cared about as a kid. Things like war, things like, oppression and that type of stuff. Potentially you were not interested or engaged in those types of things. I'm sure a Spyro game has Sonic has slave animals.
reality, you must support the current thing. And this is a more minor complaint, all things considered, but this Danica podcast with this purple hair feminist chick is so cringy and unbelievable. It's like the writers fundamentally don't understand what makes podcasts like Joe Rogan popular, and so they have this harmless.
What does?
Yeah, what is it?
What is it?
He goes, it's harmless. He just said that it's.
And
it's
so they
not
have this harmless,
So he's
sterilized, likely
Sterilized, so
self-insert
yeah.
character who gives the most
He was like, hey, that black suit ain't the one.
He's doing some stank shit.
character who gives the most safe, politically correct opinions on shit that's going on. I mean, J. Jonah.
Pause. This is the thing that Spider-Man is listening to. He's listening to this because he likes it, and he's keeping tabs on whatever crazy J. Jonah Jameson is saying.
Going on. I mean, J. Jonah Jameson's podcast would be 10 times more popular in reality.
We don't know the popularity of those two things.
Yes. This could be hey, we've got 30 people listening to us on this, and J. Jonah is doing 30K.
We don't know. You're just saying that. It doesn't matter.
In reality, even if you don't agree with what he's saying, which a lot of the times what he's saying is absolutely correct.
Inflation through the roof. feckless government officials, and a country
so
on
he
the
does.
brink
He's
of
a-
a
yeah,
collapse
okay.
not seen since the fall of the Roman Empire.
He just sounds way more interesting. He's actually giving a real opinion. He's enthusiastic.
No,
Okay.
she's giving a real opinion too. You just don't like it.
You've said nothing about him being right. You said he's interesting, he's enthused, he's giving an opinion. Where is the he's? So would you listen to just anybody being up, saying whatever?
He must be talking about the inflation and all that stuff. But if she would have said the exact same words, but in her dialect, I doubt he would have enjoyed it.
He's enthusiastic. Danica is a face for radio, and she's boring as shit. There's no way anyone would ever listen to her. Before we move on, I want to talk about bugs.
I like how he didn't play a clip of her, but he did of JJ.
Are you saying he has some kind of agenda or something? What are you saying?
For
What are you-
obvious reasons, I'm not saying
what's
that.
the conclusion that you're drawing with this?
Before we move on, I want to talk about bugs real quick. This might just be the buggiest high-budget Sony release that has come out in the past 10 years. Now, I can make excuses for a lot of minor bugs that don't really bother me that much, but there are a few here that are inexcusable. The first of which being that this game hard crashed my PS5. It actually overheated, froze, and then shut down the entire thing. It then
Oh, man, I
proceeded
didn't
to
get that
crash
bad.
2 more times over the course of the story, though luckily not quite as bad. I also had a weird bug where the enemy AI would just glitch out and stand around and not even attack me at multiple
get that
times. There was also this weird bug where I was supposed to solve this laser puzzle by pulling down a bunch of chains to block the lasers, but if you pull down 2 of them, it creates 2 holes in the floor. So I thought, oh, maybe I can just jump in the holes. Yeah, whatever. Just go through the hole. Wait, what? What? I thought... Wait a minute, what? So that one was more funny than it was annoying, but I thought it was worth pointing out. And when Miles gets his final power in the story, the game just straight up soft locked. I couldn't press any button, but luckily a quick load checkpoint fixed it. But you'd think that one would have been pretty easy to catch, so I'd have to guess it was broken by the day 1 patch. And I know this isn't
No, I didn't have that issue.
1 patch. And I know this isn't technically a bug, but this game has a really bad camera in certain boss fights. During the first Kraven fight, it would zoom in on his face, and I couldn't even see my fucking character model, which makes it a little bit hard to
Yeah,
dodge
I can get that
attacks
one.
when you can't see the spider sense over your head.
That would
And there were a
helped
whole
you.
bunch of
That's
minor bugs that are
insane.
not really worth going into, and there were some performance issues, but for the most part, I think the game ran fine. But it is definitely worth noting that this game was a little buggy. It's got much bigger issues, but I thought it was worth bringing up. Okay, I think I've stalled enough. Let's finally talk about the main story and how Insomniac's writers, or at least the lead one, absolutely hates Peter Parker. Now, this story was a bit of a...
As a man that you said, I don't know if he's in the comics and I don't care, I would assume does not read comics. How much do you care about Peter Parker?
Mhm.
How much are you engaged with the story of Peter Parker that goes on in the comics? Anything outside of the media you are inundated in. So you movies, that type of stuff.
Bit of a convoluted mess. So much so that just 2 days after finishing it, which is the time I'm recording this, I basically already forgotten 80% of it, and I had to go back
Because
through...
you were tired. Because
And
you
not
were
engaged.
bored. Because you were not engaged. Because you actively did not care about a character who has a large role in the story. You were not engaged in this. So saying that you forgot about this means absolutely nothing. to me.
Less than nothing.
80% of it, and I had to...
Hey, ask me 3 things that happened in the second arc of Jujutsu Kaisen. Ask me what the second arc of Jujutsu Kaisen was.
I gotta assume it's the Nobra introduction thing.
Did they meet Megumi first though, or was he just?
Yes, I think. Yeah, no, and then she rocked up in the middle of the street, and then it was just like, okay, we're all together. Megumi was there first because I think they met in the door.
See what I mean?
Tell me anything about the principal.
What? There's
Anything.
a principal? Oh, yeah, because they were talking to Gojo. And that's when old girl was there, just like I like
he has sunglasses.
I think so too.
I think he's a bald guy with sunglasses.
That sounds right. You see, I'm not engaged with Jujutsu Kaisen, so I don't know.
He has hair, but he does have sunglasses.
This is the most nondescript man. Like, what are we supposed to do?
I thought he was bald. Why did I think he was bald?
80% of it, and I had to go back through my footage just to create this synopsis, which is really not a sign of a good story, and I promise you I actually tried to pay attention this time, unlike with God of War Ragnarok where I was looking at chat for probably half the game.
So I would be ashamed and take down that video if you're admitting that that was not to par.
I can understand if it's a game that you don't think is good, so you're just like, I'm reading chat. And that sounds like what he did. Like, he didn't think the game was good, and I don't give a
Then don't talk about it in a structured review. Make a rant, make a thoughts on. Don't go, this game sucks because these reasons, and then be wrong because you weren't paying attention. Admittedly.
For probably half the game, because once again, that game was boring as fuck. So the story begins.
But this game is equally as boring. You've stated this.
Close to just about as boring.
So it is an 85 next to 100.
Yes.
So that 15% is enough to be like, I've got a handle on this story.
I'm gonna pay attention this time. I don't believe.
So the story begins with Sandman attacking the city. Why has he attacked the city? I guess his brain is scrambled.
I guess his brain, that's all you need to know, because you are not paying attention. You are not engaged in the story. You are not engaged in the things that are going on.
So this could be taken a couple of different ways. Yes, his brain
one way.
No, in terms of this.
Okay.
Yes, his brain is scrambled. Done. And so we have to fight him. Number 2, he's a villain. He does villainous stuff, and then we have to fight him. Or 3, we learn that later. Shut up. What what happens here?
Yeah,
so why are you feigning ignorance? This isn't. You didn't record this part and then go back and record the first part. You're not recording this as you're playing it. So why are you feigning like you don't know what's going on here? Yes, we don't know what's going on in the moment, but we don't need to know exactly what's going on. Hey, he's not acting like he normally does. Something wrong.
Hey, what's the diggy?
Scrambled. That's pretty much as far as it goes. It's explained later that he was being chased by
So it's not as far as it goes, huh? So it goes further. So why would you say a proposition, and then it's negation? See, I tried to sound smart, and that was my mistake.
Yes.
Because,
I mean,
I can't sound smart, but yeah, I'm not smart because of obvious reasons. Obvious reasons is one of the worst things I've ever heard. I feel deep sadness by saying it.
For obvious reasons.
Oh, Lord. This racism is killing me inside.
It's explained later that he was being chased by Kraven, but Sandman, a guy who's made of fucking sand, is afraid of some random Russian hunter guy.
A dude that killed 3 Sinister Six members?
Yes. Dunzo.
Dude, look, a yoked up dude like this, he can be beaten.
Yes.
Sandman can be beaten. He's not
As he
invincible
was.
as he was.
Russian hunter guy who has a magic potion that makes
And
him
he also was worried about his daughter.
has a magic potion that makes him somewhat stronger than a normal person. Now, of
This
course,
was such no. It was not somewhat stronger than a normal person because he caught a Spider-Man punch. But this introduction, so it tells you, it's one of the things that tells you everything you need. Craven, you suck. You're old and washed. I was chasing you for like 20 minutes.
How
You
did
didn't
you-
even.
Terrible. Absolutely.
Y'all brought me this motherfucker.
I asked for an equal, and you bring me filth.
Not even worth being on his crew. It's just like, no, and dead.
stronger than a normal person. Now, of course, because we needed a new villain faction in this game, Kraven also has 1,000 fucking goons working for him. I mean, seriously, why does he have so many badass hunters that are full of women and people of color? I mean, this is the
He is coming from the motherfucking jungles.
Yes. There was,
Where do you think?
he said,
Do you think he's just some white dude?
there was conversations of him just going around and just picking forlorn people up.
If you were engaged in the
What's the problem with women having a weapon?
and being strong,
What's the problem with people of color
in a group in countries where there would be an abundance of a people of color.
Would the game be better if it was just all white enemies?
Couldn't even tell you.
It's obviously worse, or at least notable enough to bring it up. The fact that there is people of color, and that's what the group is made of.
women and people of color. I mean, this
The handshake! That was such a good clip after all that. Just women and people of color.
that are full of women and people of color. I mean, this
Dude, he couldn't care less about this
That's-
black woman on screen looking scrunk.
That's the handshake that I did to mock this. And this is just, whoa. And he's thinking that, or along those lines.
women and people of color. I mean, this is the
I'm sorry, I can't. It's so
That is an alert.
Oh yeah, dude, I gotta find some way to add that. You know what? That might be one of them in Dragon Instinct Goku. Just the handshake and some other
Women and people of color.
people of color. I mean, this is the most diverse group of villains I've ever seen in any video game. I guess on the bright side, you get to beat the shit out of women. Spider-Man
Sir.
I just want to make it known that I was playing as Miranda in Resident Evil 6, and I said I hate women. This is why I hate women. Where's Chris? I need his schlong. And they flagged me for hate speech
Obviously, for obvious reasons.
for the phrase I hate women.
Mm.
This guy goes, at least you can beat women. I do not understand how this works. He is saying the loud part loud.
Very loud.
side, you get to beat the shit out of women. Spider-Man hates women so much that he'll break every bone in their bodies.
No, is he supposed to take it?
Spider-Man beats up women because he can.
Yeah, but he's also beating up dudes and
Yes.
robots, and
What?
he's beating up an enemy. The enemy happens
Yes.
to be a woman.
Video games are so woke that beating women is no joke. But whatever, that's, I guess, a
That is field here.
Yes. I guess that is baby DSP. They meme him.
And then right into woke.
But what
I would like to
Shake
see.
head woke.
I would like to see his chat during that little ditty of a song.
It would be Omega Lol.
Donations out the wazoo.
But whatever, that's, I guess, a minor complaint in the grand scheme of things, because
It shouldn't be a complaint.
It's nothing.
It's an observation of a thing you don't last.
complaint in the grand scheme of things, because so many other games are doing it now. So after you defeat Sandman with Miles' bullshit Mary Sue electric powers, which are good against—
He assists, you show him channeling the electricity through Peter. It is an assist. Is that 60-40? Is that 50-50? Is that 90-10? I don't know.
Hey, what makes the powers Mary Sue? Because
look at him.
For it's obvious reason.
He's,
Any argument you could levy against Miles' powers, you could supplant onto Peter because they both got powers just from being bitten by a spider.
but he has more powers. And why does he get more powers? Mary Sue.
Because there was an enhanced version of the spider.
That's not fair.
One of the spider people is psychic.
That's not fair.
electric powers, which are good against everything in this game. Seriously, Spider-Man comes across some gun goo.
Yeah. So what do we got? We got people who get shocked, so that's good. We got people in symbiote suit who are people, so they can get shocked.
Sand people.
Why wouldn't we don't have rubber people rocking around here?
Some gun goons who are the least diverse enemy group in the game. They are not only mostly white, but they are pretty much all men, and they're jacked, which just made me like them more and want to be part of their club. But we get a little piece of subtle propaganda in there.
I think I'm gonna start a petition. Replace all the gun clubs with something better.
You're right. Revoke the Second Amendment, Spider-Man. I agree. Now, I know people are going to debate this.
It's Spider-Man banter as he's getting shot at
by literal guns. If they were sticks, he'd be making a quip about sticks.
Bats, golf clubs, whatever.
Agree. Now, I know people are going to debate this point whether or not it's actually woke, but honestly, I don't care. There's much bigger fish to fry here. At the end of this—
why would you introduce it, explain that it is woke, but then just go, I don't care.
I don't care if you think it's woke. There's other things to
you
talk about.
clearly care because you brought it up.
You showcased it.
To fry here. At the end of this mission, we end up rescuing J. Jonah Jameson, and he is one of the very few based characters in this game, though obviously unintentionally, as he's just—
He uses base.
Unironically.
One thing I would have wished, similar to the pizza stuff, that jostling people around would not.
I like that in the, especially since they're injured. Yeah.
I would have preferred something like that.
Instead, they just kind of hamstring the things you can do in the air, like you can't flip around and stuff and do all that.
And we're not going halfway across the city. We're going like 500 meters.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a couple blocks. So there could just be some slow down a little bit type of stuff.
Though obviously unintentionally, as he's just meant to be a right-wing caricature, which is actually hilarious because he's—
Is he? Or is he just a yelly man about the bush?
Yeah.
The Spider-Man bush.
actually hilarious because he's almost always correct.
No. And again, I don't know because I don't look at politics like that and hear him talk about oil or whatever he showcased before and just go, right, left,
Yeah, I never thought of JJ in this game as some sort of right-wing allegory, nor did I think of the girl as some left-wing allegory. They were just two podcast people podcasting to me.
He's almost always correct.
That Mac Gargan, the Scorpion, has been found dead. His stinger removed like a trophy. One can only assume this was at the hands of the Hunter. Are they doing what the ineffectual Spider-Men won't and removing these dangers permanently?
And shortly after this, we get—
That's a hatred of Spider-Man thing.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with some white-wing stuff.
What makes him right about it?
The
You said he's
only-
almost always right.
The only thing I can think of is he's supplanting JJ as, or the people being taken out as those people. So why wouldn't we put them down? This is the only thing I can think of to why you would think of JJ as some like right-wing type of thing.
And shortly after this, we get to meet Miles' friends, fat Asian kid Genki, and his deaf girlfriend. This is just fucking cringe, man. I got nothing to say about it, really. This is also where the pacing of the game starts.
This is cringe. I hate. You said that you got nothing to say about.
You've got nothing to say about it, apparently. It done broke your brain.
What's the point of introducing it if you've got nothing to say? What does it do to
showcase to the audience that it's cringe? He knows his
cringe?
audience. No, yeah, he knows his audience.
He's just feeding it to here's what you want to hear. You think it's cringe. I think it's cringe. We understand this. Moving on.
Let's see the cringe together. This is cringe.
Obsrees.
Where the pacing of the game starts to drop off of a cliff. I know you're probably familiar with this already, as it's a Sony game, but I think specifically Spider-Man 2 is especially bad about this, because even though in terms of the actual number of hours of cutscenes are not nearly as much as God of War Ragnarok, there's so many things that destroy the pacing, whether it's the walking simulator section.
What does he think pacing means?
How much swinging and fighting to this type of thing? Because we've got the big action stuff. Now this is going into the story stuff. We're going into Peter's life right now. Stuff. We're going into Miles's life right now. And then where's your story going to go from here?
The emotional anchors and characters that are going to be showcased throughout the story.
That you did not care about frame one because it's cringe, and now you don't care about
for obvious reasons.
And now you don't care about this because it's walking simulators. You could just put a label on something and just go, "This is this," and I don't care about this anymore, and thus the game is lowered. That's what's going on in this. Not talking, not listening, not the emotional moments of him walking through her house. Not the turmoil that's going on with Mary and Peter, the money problems. None of that. The do you want to move in? We have to go to the next step. Maybe we give up this house. All this stuff. No, it's boiled down to a walking simulator and the term pacing.
It seems very much, regardless of whatever his politics are, regardless of whatever his beliefs are, he seems very poor at being able to analyze a piece of media, especially something that he is not even an iota engaged with. Because what have been his arguments so far outside of the woke stuff? It's been the gameplay is a bit mashy. It's jank, but I can't explain it.
It's similar to the last one.
You've played Arkham games. The health bars, there's too much for bosses. There's all these phases. Why is it like this? I don't have good reflexes, and a lot of this relies on reflexes. I couldn't really get a grasp on the parry mechanics.
Swinging was better in the other game, but not bad in this.
Yes. Everything is just kind of somewhat okay-ish, fine, whatever. Except the woke stuff. And then the negatives are these brain dead, walking simulators. Just things you can just say to explain that, hey, it repetitive, bad.
Because he wasn't paying attention and he didn't remember, so he had to go back. And you're not watching a 16, 17 hour playthrough again. You're skimming through that. So you just go, oh yeah, they walk through the house, whatever. It's just was walking simulator. Not talking about what's going on here. It's just like, oh, this is this thing moving on.
Oh, the introduction of Peter at the school, zip,
cringe, whatever.
The walking simulator sections, which we'll get to soon, or the horrible mini games and puzzles, like I mentioned earlier. There's so many moments in this game where you're not just playing as Spider-Man, aka swinging through the city.
Hey, do you have to play as Spider-Man every single second?
Not every video game is you doing the thing of the character that they are quote unquote known for. Not every section of every Mario game is gonna have him running and jumping. Other's gonna happen.
This is a story-based game. You need the story.
through the city and beating up bad guys, which is the reason why anybody would want to play a fucking Spider-Man game. And
hey, I like the characters. I like the story. There are many reasons I wanted to play this Spider-Man game, not to just be Spider-Man. If I ever got it, I guess I am going to go into the Superman game. If I ever got a Superman game, I would want to play as Clark Kent way more than Superman. I would want way more sections of that stuff.
15 cells.
And I'm
the
14
Mary
of
Jane
them.
book of games. Just like, ain't nobody buy it.
I'll be on stream just giving them away.
And you're Spider-Man like, I bought it. It helped me.
fucking Spider-Man game, and exactly why the original Spider-Man 2 is better than this game. The main story...
Hey! Oh, okay. He's gonna go into it.
Game. The main storyline of this game is somewhere between 12 and 15 hours, depending on what you consider part of the story, which is more than twice as long as the entirety of the original Spider-Man 2 on PS2, but if you cut out all of the fluff,
What?
and I mean...
I thought he was going to talk about Spider-Man 2.
I did too. Spider-Man 2 is a lot of cutscenes, a lot of side missions. It's a lot of that crap. It's a lot of busy work. I might, before because we're not going to finish this in this sitting.
What? You sure?
I might
We're
need
on
to go
good
back
pace.
and listen to the original Spider-Man 2 argument that he had. He probably talked about it in the original review of the original game.
Fluff. And I mean basically anything that isn't playing as Peter or Miles and swinging around the city or beating up bad guys, this story would also only be about 6 hours long. That's how much padding is in this. It is absolutely
Hey, Spider-Man uses robots at times to do things, so what's the issue here?
insane and inexcusable. Okay, enough stalling, back to the story. So soon afterward, Peter goes back home, and we finally get to see the new Mary Jane, and oh my god, she's hideous!
What's wrong?
It's fine.
Your face! Mary Jane, more like manly jaw. She looks old enough to be Peter's mom.
The age disparity in the faces is the issue.
I didn't not find that funny. Manly jaw.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
I thought that was okay.
Yeah, that's
I
an
say
okay
this
joke.
a lot, but if I was in the mood to laugh,
You would have laughed.
that
at
would have gotten a sensible
You are
chuckle.
the synthetic man of watching this. Like, you're not engaged enough to be entertained.
I'm the pro of just
Just shake your head and leave y'all.
With a giant fucking man jaw. That is a man, dude. Look at that body. Wide shoulders.
it's a man, baby.
Wide shoulders, are we?
Look at that body. Wide shoulders, no hips, flat ass. That is a man.
Now, the cheeks are a problem. The last scene as they're looking at the city, and it is a wall. I'm like, in my mind, I thought the pancakes were in the house.
That is a man. And the worst thing is, we know she's a face scan model. We also know what her face used to look like in the old game. And this is what her model actually looks like, okay? Now here's the big twist.
The only thing I can really see is that the cheeks are kind of too expanded.
Mm-hmm. About the same nose. The mouth is a little bit bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay? Now here's the big twist. This is what the lead writer for this game looks like. Oh yeah, that's not a coincidence. Mary Jane is 100% a self-insert in this game, and
Did she draw and model the character of Mary Jane Watson?
Did she have any hand in face scan? I have no interest in this conversation because I don't know if it is or if it wasn't. I think that it's stupid to introduce this.
Yes.
I think that it
What
does
does
nothing
it do
for your argument.
What does it do for the game? What does it do for your enjoyment
You
of the
can't
game?
jerk it to Mary Jane Watson.
Was he jerking it to Mary Jane before?
Yes. he was. And that's why he can't do it now. And he's pissed, baby.
Insert in this game, and that becomes very obvious near the end, but we'll get to that later. And now in a fucking superhero game, we spend the next 5 minutes cleaning up a house.
Hey, have you ever watched a movie of Spider-Man and seen the mundane things he had to do? Have you ever read a comic of Spider-Man and seen the mundane things he got to do?
It's baby mode to just go every single second should be superhero stuff. This is a person who is living a life. It has to be both parts of this. Yeah. This is where the emotional drama comes from of, I need a better job. I need money. This house is not
the balance
good.
Between Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Batman can be Batman at all times because he's Batman at all times.
He's trapped in this city. He's trapped in this jail.
It's not like you were doing this while the city is being overrun by symbiotes. This is a, hey, nothing's going on. Here's a day in the life of Spider-Man.
This is over the course of several days instead of the Arkham games where it's essentially a night.
Eating up a house. And we get a flashback to when Peter was a teenager.
And you see, that's his entire argument. In this superhero game, we have to clean up the house. Mm-hmm. There you go.
End of criticism.
Teenager, and he punched a hole in his wall, and Aunt May helped him. Don't care, Aunt May had it coming. In fact, I hope they bring her back and kill her a second time in the next game. Now the game decides...
It's not even funny.
What's the problem with Aunt May?
It's not funny. It's just... He has nothing to say, so he attempts to make a joke.
Oh, this
sucks.
And he moves on. Aunt May is caked up way more than MJ.
No! The cheekage!
Next game. Now the game decides to waste the next 30 minutes building up Peter and Harry Osborn's friendship.
It's not a waste. You need this for the story. It's the entirety of Peter's story!
And Harry's. Imagine not getting this and then just going into the
Hey, we've been friends forever, and that's the entirety of it.
I wonder if he would enjoy a game, like enjoy the Spider-Man game, where instead of every cutscene, you just get a synopsis blurb of what's going on, and then you go right back into the game. Like, would that be enjoyable to him?
It probably, but then maybe it'd be like too much reading.
As we saw in the beginning, they're not even pretending to make it a twist that he's Venom in this game. They pretty much gave it away. So the Venom symbiote is helping him fight off his cancer, so now he's completely fine to do physical activities. There's a walking simulator mission where you ride bikes.
You've already mentioned this exact thing, and you've already mentioned walking simulator as your criticism of this exact thing. How can you complain about padding of the game as you pad the runtime of this review?
Not smart enough to realize that.
Ride bikes. Are we gonna really have a bike riding mission? Just make it a cutscene, please. No, dude, don't make me. Don't do it. Don't make me ride my bike in a straight line. It better be a cutscene. Fuck you.
Just hold
you.
forward.
And then you have a flashback back to when they were both in high school, and it's incredibly boring and a colossal waste of time.
Cool.
How many times has he said waste of time? Because that's the exact argument Phil gives all the time. I don't want to boringly waste my time.
I want meaningful. But boring and waste of time. Who listens to this guy for? Because that's not funny. No. That's not insightful.
Nope.
That is his experience. But what does that do for somebody watching? Other confirmation bias.
Yes.
Waste of time. And I might as well bring this up now, but this game has some god-awful dialogue. I mean, ripped straight from Reddit.
Paparazzi's bad enough. But paparazzi with guns?
Oh my god, not paparazzi with guns!
Epic.
Wait. What's the problem with that? Number one. Number two,
that
he is
Spider-Man
16?
bar.
With guns!
Epic. An impromptu shot of Ponage in action. I'm not a gamer.
That was a
I would not say that's
That's
cringe.
no different than like a parent trying to be cool. It's a lame kid trying to be cool with gamers and going ponage and epic and just I'm not
this ain't me.
I guess he is gonna play a little bit of her stuff.
No takers. Just me. Okay, well, you know, you come to me for the real, so I'm just trying to deliver.
I'm like a B real estate agent. A B real estate agent. Okay.
Peter is a lame dude. Do they think Spider-Man is cool?
Yeah, what do you
Does he
do you
think
want
Spider-Man
your
is
epic
cool?
stuff every time from Spider-Man?
Spider-Man is a lame-o dude.
He's a physicist.
Agent. Okay. You sound
I'm peachy, just peachy. I'm very Reddit chungus right now.
What's wrong with Peachy? That wasn't funny.
Hey, I'm making fun of Reddit. Fellow Reddit haters chuckle. That's the joke.
But what's wrong with Peachy? Is that out? Are the kids not?
Is out?
Showing our age. Cut that part.
Hey, he isn't at the gardens either. But I found his inhaler and was able to science my way into creating a trail.
I was able to science my way.
Not losing him again.
Could you
That's
not
literally-
please?
It's
I like
shorthand.
to keep my fight parties.
Could you not? How many gay jokes are in this fucking game?
In whatever you
I shall be your first. Oh my. Oh, gay. They're doing it on purpose now. So in our
I never once thought anything about homosexuality in that
But
fight.
if you're looking for it, you're going to find it. Caked up on a Saturday night.
What you doing out here with all that ass caked up on a Tuesday night? Just shaking it. I love that clip. What you doing out here with caked up on a Tuesday night?
purpose now. So in our next mission are two Spider-Men, and yes, they call each other Spider-Man. Gee, I'm sure that wouldn't be confusing at all to the public, especially when one sounds black and is clearly wearing a different costume.
Why would that be confusing for the public because one sounds black?
Why wouldn't you just call whichever Spider-Man you see Spider-Man?
Yes.
Is one Spider-Man gonna handle the job better? Or is it just the Spider-Man I got I'm calling Spider-Man? The only way it could be confusing is if one Spider-Man is closer to a thing than the other Spider-Man and you're trying to call out to get the attention
I
of
like
Spider-Man.
Lil Spidey. Or OG Spidey.
Oh, girl called him Younger Spidey, I think.
Different costume. Are guarding a ship carrying the Scorpion and some other prisoners from the raft as Kraven shows up to break them out for his great hunt. As it comes up,
you're wrong. And you said something wrong because you weren't paying attention.
And then he got a chance to go back through the footage to write this script and still was not correct.
And then instead of re-recording it, he just added it in post.
Hunt. As it comes up later in the plot, Kraven is dying of cancer, even his magic potions can't save him, so he wants to fight the ultimate foe who can finally give him an honorable death. And as you can imagine, this makes him one of the only other based characters in this game. At least he has a pretty understandable motivation. His design is straight ripped from the comics.
So Peter,
You don't
doesn't
read
have
the
a
comics. Stop that. This isn't even based on the comics. Stop that.
So Peter doesn't have a believable motivation.
Harry doesn't. Miles doesn't. MJ doesn't.
Oh, you don't care for obvious reasons.
Obvious reasons.
Ripped
You
from the
need cheeks to be interested in a character.
Hey.
They need to be white and have cheeks.
Now the white part I don't really care about, but the cheeks,
that's what I'm talking about.
Man, woman,
but he
I don't
didn't care about Aunt May, who was cheeked up.
She on a Tuesday night.
So what does he desire? What do we need? If it's not the cheeks, it is not the white.
His design is straight ripped from the comics. It looks great. Kraven was certainly one of the only good characters in this game, even if I don't really like the idea of him having 1,000 minions. I mean,
Why was he good? Because he was based.
And this is like the third time he said based.
And minions. I mean, where's the sport in hunting this ultimate prey if you have an entire...
You missed the state of you!
Completely. There was I can't remember if it was a Guinness Book of World Record type of thing, but J. Cole had a record for the most non-duplicated words in an album. So he might have said 1,000 words once.
Mm-hmm.
This might be the record for the most duplicated word for a review.
No.
I mean, where's the sport in hunting this ultimate prey if you have an entire army capturing them for you to...
Hey, if they can be captured, they might not be prey. Mm-hmm. So when they break out, when they start beating all these mothers, then it's worthy. Cause then, he has Miles try to kill Martin Lee. It's just like, hey, if he kills him, that means for your boy.
That's the stronger person. And then I fight the stronger person.
Yay me. He's not necessarily looking for a hunt. He's looking for an out. He just wants to find the best out.
Capturing them for you to fight them in single combat isn't part of hunting, tracking them down yourself, but whatever. The two Spider-Men fail, and there's this whole subplot with Miles trying to resist killing Martin Lee, aka Mr. Negative from the first game, because he killed his father, Jefferson Davis, which, yes, everyone has pointed out the funny irony of him being named that. That was kind of the point, yes. And you would think with Miles Morales being Peter Parker's student, protege, apprentice...
Is it because that's a white name?
Or is it because of maybe Thomas Jefferson, who and then something with Davis also those times.
You don't know president, so that's fine.
Yes.
Protege, apprentice, whatever you want to call it, that maybe Peter would help him forgive Martin Lee, or maybe at least
he does. They have several talks about this exact thing.
I guess it just needed to be in the final moment. But he wasn't engaged, so he probably missed all those conversations and just went, "We're Peter to give him a talk."
It was after Spider-Man, I need your help, and he was holding on. He was just like, "You
can't be doing this, Miles. I understand, but revenge ain't the way."
Resist the urge to kill him? Nope. Miles does this all on his own. In fact,
with several talks from several different people.
Yes.
In fact, Miles takes care of all of his problems on his own, but not just his, but also Peter's problems. And people say he's not meant to be a replacement. Well, this game basically straight up tells you that he should replace Spider-Man.
No,
so you're just
he
fucking lying to yourself.
He has all the things that you need to be a proper Spider-Man.
This was after Spidey was like, maybe maybe he gotta die. And I was like, no, we could just save everybody. I'm not gonna let that happen.
Also, one of the best suits for Miles. Another one that was stapled on me.
Hey, hoodies just make things.
They make them so good.
I don't remember what hoodie outfit I had for Peter, but my God, it was constant.
We should do a ranking of the suits.
Yo, a list exists, tier list for the fit suits.
That would be fun.
Spidey 1 and 2?
That would be a lot of fun.
All right, we might need to hit that up.
So you're just fucking lying to yourself, and it's an embarrassing lie. Now, I hope you enjoyed that mission, because the next one is another walking simulator one. Hooray! At the Emily May Foundation, where they shove another environmentalist message into your head. By no exaggeration.
Hey, I'd like to live on this planet. for a little longer. I don't mind people helping the planet.
Why is they like inflation and all that speaking the truth in base? But hey, the bees are dying.
And that causes a lot of problems.
Not
Walking simulator.
obvious reasons.
Nah, look at them. But they're white. Oh, look at them cheeks.
What cheats?
Exactly.
Whoa.
No exaggeration, this was 20 straight minutes of slowly walking around and listening to all of these really cool inventions that are gonna save the world.
They were cool!
Yes.
They were super cool inventions! I love them!
This is, again, the crux of their story of making the world a better place. That is what Harry is offering him at the end of the story. We are going to make the world a better place, but I need you. As he's Venom, that is still the mission. Starting from here. So we need to see this is the basis of making the world a better place. And then it gets perverted with the Venom stuff.
Inventions that are gonna save the world. It is some of the most boring shit I've ever.
It's boring.
Dude,
Argument made.
I might need to go to the transcript.
You'll just see it.
Boring. Enter. Crash my Firefox. Same joke.
Well, there's only one place that you go. It's like this video. There's always one place that you come back to.
Obvious reasons.
Whoa.
Shit I've ever done in a video game, man. It is straight up awful. And there's only so many times I can say that, but I didn't care about.
Oh, is there? You think you're gonna hit that limit soon, my dude, or what? What are we doing here?
I can say that, but I didn't care about any of it. The end result is Spider-Man gets a job there. Wow, hooray. Not too long after this moment.
And a lot of his money problem potentially goes away.
Yep.
And he helps his friend make the world a better place, which is what their dream was, as we saw in that backstory.
Which could cause more stability for the relationship with MJ. Save Aunt May's house. So on.
And it also leads into other stuff later in the story, and it's the crux of the butting of the head.
Long after this moment, Scorpion gets killed by Kraven, which was a legitimately kind of enjoyable moment. Though something I've noticed that this game series has in common with the MCU is they have no problem with killing off villains. Apparently, Shocker, Electro, and Vulture all get killed off screen in this game. So by the time this game is over, half of Spider-Man's rogues gallery are either dead or reformed, because yes, there's multiple reformed villains too in this. I know some people are going to disagree with me on this, but I really think it's a waste of potential to just kill off almost every villain after their first appearance, especially since even though Spider-Man has one of the greatest groups of villains of any Marvel character, it's still only so deep. I don't think Green Goblin's going to be enough to carry the third game, but I guess that's a problem.
Okay, so you had Kraven and Venom in this game. So you have a game with two villains that carried the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So you can have another game with two villains, plus Ock is always in the background.
Yeah, he wants that. He wants that smoke.
So you
plus whatever you're going to do with Carnage.
You can have Carnage, you can have two different goblins, you can have Doc Ock.
We still got whatever's going on with Chameleon, which might be a side story.
Game, but I guess that's a problem for 5 years down the line at this rate. So the next mission, we finally get to see the return of Black Cat, and guess what? Peter doesn't even get to interact with her. No, this is a Miles Morales mission for some reason, and
what's the issue? We've got all that we needed from the first game.
What more could there be? They're not gonna flirt with each other because she's got a girlfriend and he's got a girlfriend. In fact, MJ specifically asked because Peter has a soft spot where he might get tricked by her.
reason, and they tease that Doctor Strange is gonna show up, but no, it's just Black Cat stealing a teleporting scroll, and you'll never guess why. Apparently now she's a lesbian, and she used
bisexual.
Now she's a lesbian, and she uses the scroll to teleport to Paris so she can get with her girlfriend.
Save her girlfriend. Save her girlfriend.
From a situation that she got her into, and she's trying to make it right.
Get with her girlfriend.
But we're just gonna ignore that whole thing.
Ignore? I don't even know what you're talking about. I was not engaged with the story. So I don't know what happened there.
So you know what? He heard girlfriend and he shut down.
He heard girlfriend and he perked up, and then he is no longer care. Oh, woke.
There's two moles. Woke and woke. You're boring. You got nothing to say.
Friend, are you fucking joking? And what adds insult to injury is Black Cat is one of the only vaguely attractive women in this entire game. There is no other explanation for this except that the writers hate Peter Parker and they hate Peter Parker's fans. All the self-insert nerd people who Spider-Man was literally made for. That's why he's one of the most popular superhero characters ever since his creation, is because he is the perfect self-insert for the nerds who are reading comic books.
So what about, why is Iron Man so popular?
Because that's what the nerds strive to be.
So you can't lose in that point.
Yep.
Either you relate to them or you are inspired by them.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Superman.
He's not popular.
Third best selling comic book?
Yeah. Because of all the stuff that happened before. He's just kind of coasting now.
Woke.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Black Superman. Woke.
Gay Super Son.
Whoa.
Nerds who are reading comic books. And so Peter Parker's life.
You didn't seem interested in what was happening in Spider-Man 2! You looked equally checked out!
He is the perfect self-insert for the nerds who are reading comic books. And so Peter Parker's life is shit, man. So many bad things happen to him.
Sure,
yes! Peter Parker's life is typically
we saw that in the showcase where he was walking through the house, but walking simulator. But he also has good things. What about those things? It's not all just bad, stinky.
So many bad things happen to him. It is a running trope across all of his comic book series. And so what did they do? They gave him a supermodel girlfriend so that he has one thing in his life, one good thing to keep him going. So
hey, the one good thing is your supermodel girlfriend, not the emotional attachment to your girlfriend, not just somebody that you can go home to and love and confide in.
Not the feeling of helping people and making the world a better place.
Just that you got a super hot girlfriend to bang. That's the one good thing you got, Spider-Man. Not your friends, family, nothing.
Comic MJ got cheeks.
I would hope so. Well, back in them days, they were cheeking up everybody. They were cheeking up robots.
Nah. Sometimes it was just like, you need an hourglass, but turn around this.
So he doesn't just blow his fucking brains out. And what do they do in the games? They take that away from him by making her a fucking 50-year-old man-jawed And although Black Cat...
Now, it says a lot that he felt the need to censor that.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why, but Wakanda Forever was fine. He probably was worried about getting demonetized.
Yo, absolutely. It was the demonetization.
So it's not about the morality of it.
Oh,
it is
no.
simply about
what? If it wasn't about the morality of it, he wouldn't have said it, period.
True that.
Still somewhat attractive. In the comics, she was a fucking bombshell, dude. Easily one of the most attractive characters.
I can't jerk it to Mary Jane, and I'm so pissed about that.
Black Cat is still attractive in this game. She just doesn't have her tits hanging out.
But Mary Jane.
But no, he's on Black Cat now.
Yeah, but what about Mary Jane? I can't. She's one of the only vaguely attractive people here. But Mary Jane isn't.
one of the most attractive characters, just like, you know, Catwoman, who she's blatantly a rip.
Catwoman's face here is not the best.
It's not good, but va-va-voom.
Yeah.
Woman who she's blatantly a ripoff of. And while the Arkham games came out before the wokeness explosion in every development studio, just compare what Catwoman looked like in Arkham City or Arkham Knight to this. I mean, shit, in the 90s.
So what? Why are you talking about Mary Jane? You should be talking about Black Cat. Yeah. Okay, what does Black Cat look like right now?
Why does she look, what is bad about her? Compare her to her first model.
And shit, in the 90s cartoon, which was for children, they made sure to make Black Cat hot as fuck.
You were terrific back then.
What is hot
I'd be
about
proud
her?
to have you fight by my side. Really care about you. Partners?
That. And maybe more.
And so, you know what? This
What's
isn't
hot
just a
about
slight
her?
against...
And what's not hot about
to here?
I don't know.
It's... he just can't tug it to this one for some reason.
For some inexplained jank.
Woke.
Obvious reasons.
But you know what? This isn't just a slight against Peter Parker. This is a slight against me.
He's a cute... It's a slight against you? What?
Oh, dude. Because I was Peter Parker.
Specifically, fuck you, Insomniac. And
why
fuck
is it a slight
anybody
against
who
you?
Praises, encourages, or even is just okay with ugly art. Because that's exactly what this game is. It's disgusting, demoralizing propaganda trash. And the little...
What is propaganda about a man-faced woman?
It doesn't need to be anything other than it is. And his audience will eat it up. And the people that won't.
Propaganda trash. And the little cherry on top was an especially bad bit of dialogue that I had to hear 4 times because I kept dying during this part.
But it's brain dead. You should be able to easily defeat all these. You said the boss battles were the only time that present any real challenge. Why did you die a bunch of times on this part?
Odd.
During this part.
Think they're here for the sea lion exhibit?
Oh, I want to see that. Did you know sea lions can swim up to 25 miles per hour?
I wanna see the sea lion.
He's talking about something that interests him.
Are you fucking joking? I seriously have to ask you if you're one of my black viewers, which, believe it or not, is 12% of my stream audience at the very least. Do you actually think Miles Morales is cool? And I mean Insomniac's for...
No, he's not cool to begin with. He's a lame-o. He presents cool energy at times.
Does he need to be cool?
Do you think Peter Parker's cool?
I don't think Batman is cool.
No, Batman sucks.
So what does it mean? Does a character have to be cool? What does it mean to be cool? Is it just interesting to you, or is it... What is your definition of cool? I don't have a definition of cool thinking about it.
It's like the judge with porn. I can't define it, but when I see it, I know.
Yeah.
Or just like him, I can't define jank, but when I see it, I know what it is.
And I mean Insomniac's version. I think the Spider-Verse one is completely fine.
Hey!
What's the difference?
How do you not know who Genki is?
What do you mean? What's the problem?
He watched Spider-Verse. How does he not know all this stuff about Miles? If he watched Spider-Verse, he's talking about, oh, if it was in the comics, oh. It was in the movies.
Because this argument is convenient for him right now.
Spider-Verse one is completely fine, but Insomniac
based upon
what's cool about that
fucking Urkel, and you can't change my mind.
Hey, what's cool about that one and what's lame about this one?
Yeah, why is he Urkel here? Oh,
please tell me.
Because he is.
When he walked into the classroom and went, well, Einstein said time was relative. I guess that was cool. When he's throwing away all the with Gwen when she hops into his room, I guess that was just cool.
This is good. This is bad. What else? Moving on.
Goal. And you can't change my mind. They tried to make him just Peter Parker, but with black skin, but he's actually worse than that. He's a fucking whiny nerd bitch. Now, this is about the time where the story starts to just become pure padding. We get a mission at an amusement
He's whiny, but Peter Parker isn't.
Oh God, what happened?
Yeah, I'm sitting there talking, and you're just playing. I'm like, motherfucker!
I legit zoned out.
Because there's only so much you can just hear these just woke arguments.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
But he goes, they try to make him like Peter Parker, but he isn't. He's just a whiny bit. But Peter isn't.
Peter was.
And he showcased zero whininess.
Just become pure padding. We get a mission at an amusement park where we get to see that Mysterio and Tombstone are now good guys. Now, do we get any real explanation for how this happened? Of course not.
They went to prison and they changed their ways as the prison system is meant to do.
Do we need to see them meeting with their parole officer to believe that they just gave up the life of crime and getting punched in the face by Spider-Man a lot?
Happen? Of course not. No, it would actually be cool to see how these villains redeem themselves. They would actually have to earn it. But
what is there to earn from I was a bad guy, I went to prison, I reflected on my actions, and now I want to turn my life straight? Tombstone essentially says this to you.
And we see him saving somebody.
And part of the fun of it is that we don't know if these people are actually still villains. It's played a little bit in the Tombstone stuff, but it's immediately resolved. But with the Mysterio stuff, we don't know if Mysterio is doing these things or if it is just the system going haywire. And there's the whole doubt of the character because he is a villain, and at any time he can just turn out to be a piece of shit.
So you wanted more story, more talking, more things that you would not pay attention to, more things that you would just call boring?
Oh, not one villain that gets redeemed earns it in this game. The third one being Mr. Negative, which was pretty fucking obvious. Anyone could have guessed that. And after
does it mean that it's not worthy of it? Is it not earned?
What does he mean by earned? And he is reticent to explain anything.
Yes, anyone could have guessed that. And after Miles goes into this weird VR universe that Mysterio came up with and fights some guys, then it just becomes a walking simulator mission.
Yeah, okay. I think that's a good place to stop.
Walking simulator.
Actually, let's hear the beginning of the next argument.
As Peter, where you get to do a bunch of carnival mini games that are pretty half-assed, and some of them are literally just watching someone enjoy a ride. Mm-hmm. As someone who's actually been to multiple theme parks throughout his life, including one of the greatest roller coaster parks in the world, Cedar Point, you should actually go and do these things instead of trying to live vicariously through a video game.
Hey, maybe you should not insert yourself into a comic book character and then get mad that the character's female compatriots aren't Auga supermodels. Maybe you should go find a supermodel.
Yeah, you just talked about implanting yourself into Peter Parker, and now he's doing Peter Parker things and having fun, and you're like, no,
you do those things yourself.
Trying to live vicariously through a video game. Trust me, it's worth it. So anyway, Kraven's goons show up, they kidnap Tombstone, and finally, after a lot of unnecessary build-up, Harry uses the Venom symbiote to help save the day.
There was one piece of build-up, which was the test of strength thing.
Yeah.
Save the day. And I actually kind of like this part of the story, even if, again, it does feel like padding. Harry's trying to be a superhero too, but he can't really control the Venom symbiote all that well. And as a nice throwback to the comics, the next time they team up, he's wearing a costume very reminiscent of the Agent Venom costume, which is when Flash Thompson got the Venom symbiote. Yes, that really happened. So after saving...
Alright, I think that's about good. End of part 1. Oh, we got halfway through it. This is a lot more substantive than I thought it was going to be in terms of just him saying woke. Because it is him actually trying to analyze the video game. But he's
in whatever bad.
He's so bad at
analyzing. The way that this is, where they just go good, bad, moving on.
Boring, walking simulators, waste of time. Like, you've got to be able to express yourself more if you're trying to analyze media. And I don't mean like you joked about it, but I don't mean pulling out a thesaurus and just going, the quantilateral. I don't need any of that. I need explanations outside of just jank.
Cringe does not mean anything to me.
No.
So you just saying cringe. What does it mean to you? Why is it cringe? What would you change about it? Anything other than just saying cringe.
It was better in older games. Like
it'd be funnier if the fat Asian guy didn't really know sign language and he was messing things up.
Which is played into at a point, because she has a interview with the podcast lady, and Genki's like, she said that this. Oh no, actually she said this. I'm sorry, I'm still learning.
But no, his analysis is, I'm not going to talk about this. It's cringe.
It's crazy.
Man, people were waiting to hear me talk about this gay thing. And guess what, y'all? It's gay.
I can't believe how woke it is. They're shoving it down your throat.
Yeah! Get him, synthetic man!
I hope you got everything you wanted with that, with those 4 words. Those 4 sentences.
But again, like you said, it's playing to his audience.
Yes, an audience he knows intimately.
If this is what they want, who is he not to deliver it?
Mm-hmm. Especially if he truly thinks this way anyway. Mm-hmm. So why not just expel things that you already think to an audience that already agrees with you?
There's no harm in it.
No.
And the people that don't, you don't have to listen to the people that don't agree with you.
No.
They're a comment. They're a video response.
They're worthless.
And you move on. You've got your however many subscribers.
This video alone has 650,000 views.
Properly monetized, that's almost $2,000. You've streamed this, so you've made the money back with super chats and things of that nature.
Yeah, I don't doubt that
he's streaming the Game Awards right now.
I don't doubt just doing this. He's made 50 times what he bought the game for. That seems like a good racket to me. Woke.
Just unironically shaking his head in the way that I was joking. He's doing the thing.
It's so funny.
Whoa, just seeing a woman.
Far people on the sides are just like, what are we doing here, people?
And that's why I just find it so extra boring to just engage with that left-right politics stuff. Because there's no nuance when you've labeled them as the left or the right. There's no nuance. They all believe in this thing.
They must believe in this.
That's why I was so against just being called a brony, because I'm like, that comes with everything that they do, everything that they believe, everything that they've done, all the things that they say. I don't want to be a part of that. I'm just somebody that likes this show. I don't like just labeling people, because once you think of the right or the left, something comes to your mind, and that thing is going to be a negative or a positive thing. So you're already coming into just going, oh, this person believes this. I am opposed to that thing because they are left. They must believe in this thing
because
this
they
is
are
what the
right.
left thinks.
They must believe in this thing because that's what the right thing.
So boring. It's so reductive to conversation. And
Does
stuff like
everybody in the right want free guns all over the streets? I would submit no. Does everyone on the left want whatever they want on the left? I don't engage in politics.
The Michael Jackson gif of the gun
going down. Do they want the Second Amendment ratified or whatever it is, just taken away? Mm-hmm. Does every one of them want that? Or do some want just restricted guns? Do some want just less gun ownership. I don't know.
No, but that's
but they
thing.
must because they're on the left.
Right
they
wants
must because they're on the
2-year-olds
right.
to have a submachine gun. And then you can lessen the person by
the left wants people to defeat others with flowers.
And then you pull out the biggest left person who's wrong or the biggest right person that's wrong. And then you go, this is yours, people.
This is your king or queen.
Oh, look at Hassan saying this
non-big-
stupid thing. And I don't know if Hassan is left or right. Because I don't care. He's just stupid.
He's just a dumb man.
Absent of politics.
He may be an informed man. He may know things about things. But he's a stupid man.
That's it. They'll earn their woo next.
You know what? That's
week.
smart. That's smart.
They'll earn it. Sit through the next one to earn your
or
woo.
they won't earn it for obvious reasons.